Wow, we're live apparently.
Yes.
What can I say? Sam's here.
Yay! Third time lucky. Third time lucky.
In case some of you didn't know, Sam has bought himself a planner, and I understand several alarms, and has set a reminder on his phone as well, and still managed to be late. So good effort, mate. Well done.
Brilliant. I'm going to copy the link again and put it in my group again to let people know that we are live.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. 1 second.
Fabulous. So welcome all. Welcome one and all. Starting to get a few people in. Hopefully they can see us and hear us. Give us a thumbs up or something in the comments if you can see us and hear us, okay? Matt goes woohoo, so I guess that means yes. Love it. Right, let's...
1 second. Jana from Wi-Fi. Gospody. Sorry about that.
Oh, professional as always, eh?
Yeah. Always very professional in my... Sorry.
Got a bit of feedback, apparently.
Oh, no.
Hopefully that's better. If not, I'll try headphones. Okay, is that any better for everyone? Don't know. Let's find out. Oh, right, let's kick off. Thanks everybody for tuning in, one and all, to tonight's very interesting live stream. I'm very curious about this. I've got a huge list. I don't know about you, Sam.
Yeah, mine's not that big, to be fair.
Is it not? Okay, that's interesting.
So we're going to see. Yeah, I'm interested to know yours, because the problem with me is, because I've lived here for so long, I'm trying to think of things that I love or hate about Russia, right? But I've just found I've put my headphone in the cup of tea next to me, and
that'll cure it.
Yeah, that'll help it work. And therefore, everything seems completely normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. So, it'll be interesting to see yours, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I suppose I'm still in the honeymoon period where everything's new and wow, and I mean, yesterday or the day before, I don't know what day of the week it is, so I can't remember, but I think it might have been yesterday. I was down at the beach at 6:30 in the morning and saw my first ever dolphin 20 meters off the shore.
Wow.
And that was, a bit of a wow moment for me. So I'm still enjoying the newness and obviously certain aspects of my day are normal, but yeah, let's see. I mean, I've tried to pick my top 5 and then given up, because there's so many things that I like that I can't sort of say, well, I like this better than that, and vice versa. So I've got a big list, but I've marked 5. So I won't say they're my 5 favourites. It's just 5 that I've picked.
Okay, so we're going to do 5 of each.
Yeah, we'll do 5 of each. But probably one thing I do want to say to everybody: this isn't a love and hate, but if I put things we like and don't like so much in a title, that's not going to get anybody interested. So I've put love and hate, but bear in mind it is what it is. I'll try and pick up as many questions as I can, but I'm a bloke and we don't multitask very well. Still echoey. Sorry, I don't really know what else I can do with that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Who's the echo coming from?
It's probably my end. But I don't know why.
It's probably because you're in like a really big kind of mansion.
That's it.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
and obviously also the party you've got going on in your garden. You're probably telling them.
Yeah, that's probably bleeding through. Yeah, that's probably bleeding through. Thomas Keller wants to know what got you to Russia. Wow. Everybody likes your background as usual by the looks of it.
Yeah. I see. Saw Lucas said fancy pad where you at. It's one of those backgrounds that you can select. If you saw the real background that I was in, you'd probably never come and visit Russia ever in your life.
Yeah, true story. Okay, let's get underway. I'm gonna go first and say, out of my things I love, people, the people.
Oh, you just stole my list, haven't you? That's what it is.
Yes, get in.
You basically just decided to steal me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the people. Just everything about the Russian people. I love.
I'm going to show you this as people on there. Okay.
I really love the fact that they are very interested in world events. They're not just wrapped up in their own self-importance and 10 miles within their house. Everybody I speak to is very, very up to date with what's happening in the world, not just in Russia. And that I really like. I love the fact that they have a lot of respect, you know, and it's certainly born into the children. And even a typical example, you can go to a restaurant, go to the toilet, leave your phone and your keys on the table, come back 5 minutes later, they'll still be there. You can't do that in the UK. Anyway, I don't care what anyone says, you can't do that unless you're the only person in the pub. So that I like, you know, people just stealing isn't, you know, it's just such a no-no, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm only speaking from my region, so it might be different in Moscow, it might be different in St. Petersburg, but this is how I'm finding it. And I've left my car unlocked in town plenty of times and left stuff on the seats, and it's still there when I come back. And that's something that I just couldn't do in the UK. You know, car windows were smashed on a regular basis to steal stuff. So that's one of my things. You know, I love that kind of attitude. You know, and the family values kind of thing. What about you?
So when it comes to people as well, I'd say the same. Like if we're in the UK, and I'm not trying to say that the UK is bad and Russia's good, but just like a comparison. If I go to the shop at night, the like local shop, I pretty much know that someone outside is going to say something annoying. And it's then the case, do you answer them? Do you end up having a fight for it? Do you know what I mean? Whereas here, that's completely non-existent. And I think, so that's one thing definitely. And I say also hospitality of people. Hospitality of the people is incredible.
Yeah.
And just the depth of them. So some people I find have a hard skin. And I'd say probably what I notice is I kind of like do things that people don't expect. Like maybe go to a petrol station and I'll ask, I'm back.
Oh, yeah. I glitched. Yeah, I can hear you. I glitched out as well then. I don't know what happened.
An earthquake. Is everything still good?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So, I was just saying that, like, I'd maybe go to get petrol or something. I'll stop on the highway or whatever to get petrol. I walk in there and I see like a security guard who looks very serious, and a woman who's maybe seems okay working there, but she's also a bit serious. And I'll say, "What are the best ice creams here?" And they're like, "Oh, I like this one." I'll buy it and I give it to her and I give it to the security guard. And then after that, they just open up incredible, because they don't, because they're there, as in a workplace, right? So they're not there to be friends. They're nice and polite, right? But then once that they open up, completely different. We end up having like ridiculous, epic conversations. A lot of people say to me, like on the video, Sam, the people, you ask a question and don't really talk much. Well, they'll answer a question and then we'll chat off camera for half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. Like sometimes I think, I've only got half an hour left before it gets dark. I'm speaking to you for ages, but like, they just open up so much. And to start with might be a bit I'm not saying you've got to buy them something for them to open up, but I'll be crossing the road and there'll be a grandma there, and she'll have a kind of like look on her face, like, she definitely doesn't want to, like, she should be good at poker,
yes.
like she'll have one of the poker faces. And,
poker face.
And then I start talking to her, and we'll end up standing the other side of the road chatting for ages, and it's like, that's what I think is really interesting about the people. They have such a depth in their character, and that's something that I definitely think with the people.
Yeah, and that's something I can certainly agree with, is that when you first come to Russia, you think that they're very stiff, they're very stoic. You walk down the street and nobody will speak, and if you actually say hello to somebody, they'll sort of look at you a little bit odd. And it's not because they're defensive; it's just because they're private, and they just expect everybody else to be private. So it catches them off guard if you speak to them. But I haven't met anybody that hasn't wanted to speak to me.
I mean, people say it's different because we're foreigners, but we can only be us, right? You can only be you. So, what can you do? It's like I say, well, they'll be different if, well, sorry, I'm me. That's who I am. Yeah, I can't be them and compare. It's like with those weightlifting supplements. You can't take them and not take them at the same time to see if they make any difference. That's just how it is, or with anything. I think also the people are straight talking, very direct. So if there's something they feel they need to tell you, they'll tell you it, which is something that I wasn't used to, and I'm still getting used to after 25 years. That they're very direct. Like for something, for example, if someone invites me to do something, I'll say, I'll think about it, and then I'll say maybe, and I'll pretend I'm ill to not go. They won't. They'll just be like, can't do it. I'm not going. It's like, okay. Or, if I have a haircut, right, and I think it's good, and then I've got a pair of shorts, Bermuda shorts, right, and I wear them, my friends will be like, I'm not fucking going with you if you're wearing them. That's it. Straight to my face. Sorry for swearing. But like straight to the face and like, take them off. Go put something else on. We're not going if you're going to wear them. That's it.
I think if you're that direct in the UK with people, then they really take offence. Where here it's not about your personal feelings; they just will say, "No, sorry, I don't agree with that." And coming from the UK, it's very easy to sort of go, "Oh, you're being a bit off with me." Do you know what I mean? But they're not. They're just straight. They're just, they don't pussyfoot around. There's no. Trying to protect your feelings. There's none of that. They just tell you how it's straight. And if they're unhappy with something, they'll tell you that they're unhappy with it. But 2 minutes later, it's done. It's not like they hold that grudge for the next 3 years. It's done. They've said their bit and they've moved on.
It's like it's something that people they don't do things because they have to do them. They do things because when they want to do them. And I think it's like, for example, if you're driving the car and somebody waits to give way for you a bit further down the road or something, and you go down the road and you wave to them, the chances are they probably won't wave to say thank you, because waving is something you do to friends, not to say thank you on the road. Like they appreciate that you waited for them, or that they waited for you. Right? It's fine. Yeah, it's what you do. But they don't do the wave thing. It's like you wave them like, I don't know him. Why would I wave to him? But they do appreciate things. Like I've been stuck in snow in the middle of nowhere. I was stuck in snow in the middle of nowhere. A guy, I called a phone that I saw went to an abandoned ex collective farm, and there was a phone number in the window for security, and I called them, and he came from like a village a couple of miles away on foot to dig me out. Spent like 5 hours digging out my car, and at the end of it, I was like, okay, can I take you home? He's like, no, I'll walk. I was like, well, let me give you something. He's like, don't want anything. I was like, wow, that's ridiculous, isn't it? So like the courtesy. I always keep a spade in my car, and I help dig other cars out, and they help dig you out in the snow, because that's the thing to do. But it's not like at the end, like, thank you or anything. It's just like, okay, dig out the snow and then get back in the car, drive off.
No, I can certainly concur with that. A good friend of ours fairly recently opened up the boot of his car and showed me what he had in the boot of the car, and said, doesn't your boot look like this? And he had survival spade, he had compressor, he had spare tyres, you name it, it was in the boot of the car. And it's like, what are you preparing for? But that's just, it's just what they do. They're prepared for any eventuality. And I said, oh, you just pick up the phone and call the breakdown service, don't you? And he just laughed and went, nah. you'll be there hours.
Mhm.
You just sort the problem yourself. So yeah, they certainly get prepared. That's for sure. I'm just going to say, Ferrell, thank you very, very much. That is the first super chat I've ever received. How about that? Ferrell wants to know: is it possible for you to get a job there with your Russian skills? How long did it take you to acquire those skills? How is the job market? So, your Russian skills, is it possible for you to get a job?
That's the questions.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, it's possible to get a job with regards to my Russian skills. So I didn't really learn. I attempted to go to university here, like on a course to study Russian, but I couldn't be bothered to go. Too lazy. So I just kind of picked things up as I went along, and so my grammar's pretty crap, but like everyone can understand me. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to, what kind of job I'd want to work in. I prefer being my own boss, but I could get a job. Yeah.
Yeah. The job market here, from what I can tell, based on the news, is next to zero unemployment wise. Certainly in my region. I don't know about you, but in my region,
I don't know anyone that's unemployed.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know anybody that's unemployed, but I don't see any homeless people for a start, and that's usually a good indicator. But they just,
I don't see any either.
they're just not here.
Mhm.
So I would suggest that the market is very good. You know, the job market, and certainly I know there's a big push from the government in the IT sector at the moment. There's massive investment in that, and also in construction around me. They're building everywhere, all sorts, you know, from shops to apartment blocks to new roads to repairing new buildings. Oh, we've lost Sam.
Yeah, I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see
Yeah, I'm
you.
frozen for some reason.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we'll carry
I
on
don't
and
know
see
why
if you
that
come
is. My
back.
internet's good. I don't know why. Oh, it says I've got the thinking thing going on.
Yeah, no idea
not
what that is.
about.
My
No
internet's
idea.
very good as well. Apparently, somebody says Russians don't wear shorts, or Russian men don't wear shorts. I wouldn't agree with that. I've seen plenty of Russians wearing shorts, certainly in
Yeah,
this
they don't
region.
wear Bermuda shorts in the
Yeah,
city. Well, maybe they do down near your way because it's you're obviously near to the sea. But they
yeah,
don't wear Bermuda shorts in the city here. They wear them when they go maybe to the beach or whatever, or out of town or into the countryside. But yeah, Bermuda shorts are more. What is going on?
yeah. I have no idea, mate. I've just got a frozen picture of you, but I can hear you, and I'm assuming everybody else can.
Very, very frustrating.
Yeah,
No idea why. Shall I reload the page or not?
yeah, yeah. By
Oh,
all
in
means,
fact, my
I'll
page
carry
is
on.
even the whole thing's crashed.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll carry on.
Do you want me to leave and come back again?
Yeah. Okay. Do that.
Okay. Sorry
Can
about this.
everybody just give me a comment or something to say that you can hear me at least?
Why is it doing this? I guess you can still hear me, can you?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So my whole computer's frozen for some reason.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going
Fine.
to
Okay.
turn it off and just come back on again. Okay. So
Yeah. Yeah. Do
sorry
that,
about this.
Sam.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Turn off. Come back on again. I'm good. Apparently, for the first time in my life, I'm good. Another super chat. Wow. Thomas Keller, thank you very, very, very much. Yeah, bizarre. So thank you for that. From Devon, yes. Derek, good evening. I can't tell the difference. The CIA cut Sam off. You never know, do you? Let's face it. Hopefully you can still all hear me as Sam is detached. Yeah. Yeah, Sam's frozen in time. No idea why. Sailor. Sorry, I missed your earlier comment, mate. I caught it, but then I missed it. It didn't register in my tiny little brain. How do guys in Russia treat people from the neighbouring country who come as refugees? Dear, that's a difficult question for me to ask because I haven't noticed any refugees. Other than, sorry, no, I'll take that back. There are over 2,000 refugees in Anapa from Ukraine. So if that's the neighbouring country. And they are treated the same as any other Russian because it's different here than the West portrays. So, yeah, case in point, my neighbour is Ukrainian, from Ukraine. So, don't believe everything you're told. Russians and Ukrainians live side by side. There are certain elements of any society that may have issue, but generally they're brothers and sisters. So yeah, there are well over 2,000 Ukrainian refugees in Anapa that have come to Russia, obviously, once the SMO started. All wearing shorts in this weather, definitely, Guy. I am living in shorts and I'm living in the swimming pool. And Sailor, I think that was your comment about swimming pools. And yes, I've been in it probably for about 4 hours today, maybe even longer. Because they're actually Russians from Ukraine, correct. Is there any work for gas engineers to transfer from England? 100%. Gazprom, there are many, obviously, opportunities in that industry. Gazprom is the obvious one that comes to mind. You can't understand the size of the place until you come here. And obviously that gives a massive, massive opportunity for work. So definitely for gas engineers, you wouldn't have a problem getting a job here if you've got qualifications. Sailor, you mean the Russians from Ukraine? No, Ukrainians from Ukraine, I would say, Ferrell. You know, Russian-speaking Ukrainians, maybe that's a better choice of words. But prior to the SMO, I think most of Ukraine spoke Russian. Now it's illegal in Ukraine, from what I understand. They closed Sasha Meets Russia. Are your channels in risk of being closed too? So just, I've heard that there's a bit of stuff about Sasha Meets Russia. I've genuinely, honestly, never ever seen her channel, so I know nothing about it. I've just heard, you know, in various public forums that there's been a channel closed. So I don't know. I couldn't comment. I don't know why her channel was closed. I'm guessing if you breach, YouTube's pretty strict. I've been on the receiving end of YouTube before, you know, making comments before I had my own channel and on Twitter, and you know, the algorithm a lot of time just goes bang if it doesn't like something, and you know, you can look at things and just think, well, I haven't done anything wrong. Why? But it is what it is. So I couldn't comment on that particular person because I literally know nothing about her. I've never seen her channel. So while we're waiting for Sam, let's is he back? Add to stage. Yes, here he is.
I was like, I'm here. I'm here.
He's back.
Yeah.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Is he back? Yes, he's back. He's back. Get in. Woohoo!
Yay.
Right, I was just waffling through some questions. Got asked about Sasha Meets Russia. You know, apparently the channel got closed.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah, and are our channels in risk of being closed too?
Well, obviously we've got no idea, have we? We've got no idea if they, you know, if they...
Yeah, me personally, as I've just said, I know nothing about Sasha. I've never seen the channel, so I don't know anything about it. I can only assume that she's probably breached YouTube rules in some way, shape or form, and they've closed the channel. And
I mean, obviously YouTube's American, right? So we have to be very careful with stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, at any time they could block the channel. Obviously, we have no idea, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's like people say, is it difficult to get a visa? What does that mean? You either get it or you don't, do you? You know, it's like, so it's the same thing with
It's a
YouTube?
process,
Like, is it,
you know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same. You know, is it difficult to get a visa? No, you just go through the process. It's not like
Yeah.
the visa process is a man that looks at you and goes, "Oh, I don't like the jeans that you're wearing."
Yeah,
It's a
no.
process, just like applying for a driving license.
Mhm.
So you go through the process, and if you meet the requirements and you filled out the form correctly, and you're not a complete cabbage, then there's no reason you won't get the visa. But you know, YouTube, if you follow the rules, you'll be fine. So far, I haven't been closed because I follow the rules. So I assume that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, you know, we've got Telegram channels, obviously, just in case. But you know, I haven't got a backup channel. I'm not on Rumble or you know, on TikTok or
Mine's
Facebook
sync
or whatever
to
it is.
Rumble, but like I don't think I get any views over there. Like I get maybe 5 or something on a video. But when I upload a video, it automatically goes onto Rumble as well. But
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
that's interesting.
I think I've got like 2 subscribers there, and I get like 5 views on a video. It doesn't. I don't think I am.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Lala 777. What's your favourite food there? Yeah. Do you know, I haven't really got a favourite food because I like a wide variety. But it was my birthday at the weekend, so we went out for dinner, and we went out for a Chinese at the Golden Dragon. How about that?
Wow.
So that was very surreal going to dinner for at a restaurant called the Golden Dragon because I know a Golden Dragon in the UK in my hometown. So
Do you order by numbers? You know, like in the UK, you'll have a 54 and a 26 and a, you know, do you do? Is it the same here or not? Or no?
No, not at all. It's just a Russian menu. I used Google Translate with the camera option, held it over the menu, looked for what I wanted, and I had chicken and pineapple and some rice, and we had squid, and the wife had, oh dear, chicken something. I can't remember. But good portions. Yeah, enjoyable. But it was just nice to have a, you know, not a normal, but just nice to have go to a restaurant that sounded British. You know, do you know what I mean? It's just a bit weird. But I haven't really got a favourite food. I don't know about you, mate. Have you got a favourite food here?
So I like barbecue, so shashlik, anything like shashlik. I like salmon. I do like lamb as well, but not that often because obviously it's like pretty, you know, fattening. But like yeah, so shashlik from salmon, shashlik basically. Yeah, I love it, and also like hachapuri. Yeah,
Okay.
salmon shashlik and hachapuri. Do you know hachapuri? I mean, it's obviously not a Russian dish. It's like a pastry with cheese. Sometimes you have them with different things inside. It's like it's an Azerbaijani stroke Uzbek type of
right. I have had a few
Soviet
things like
countries.
that.
Yeah, so I like that.
I have had a
I
few
might even
things
order
like
one
that.
now while we're on the phone. While we're on the line. We're coming like an hour and a half. Are you good?
Yeah, fine. Let's move on to number 2. We've done number 1, which was people. I think we both agreed on that. So let's do 2. What's your next in your
My
list
one.
of
So
things you love?
yeah, so I've got quite a few on the list. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not. Should I say what I like is here we let the public figures run the country and we don't look for scandals on them all the time. And I think it's something that's I really like that we trust, we vote for the people to go. We have local elections and we have, you know, the presidential elections, and we vote for those people. And when they get the job, we then back them and allow them to make the decisions, and because they're more qualified than we are. Whereas whereas in other, where I've lived in the UK in the past, that's something that is always a scandal. Always is like, well, he drove over the speed limit and he found a way to not pay, so let's sack him. Or you know, just like constantly, it's constant bickering, and it's not like that here. You know, we trust the person that we've elected to do the job, and we don't like, you know, constantly put barriers in the way for them to get it done. You know, someone's more qualified than us. That's why they've got the job. That's why they got the position. Let them do it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's something that I kind of feel very trusting about.
have you got in your town, in a Napa, the government building, outside the government building, all the employees or the representatives in that government building
The
are
photo.
on big pictures?
Yeah. It's
Outside.
called
So you can see.
Doska Pachota, I think it's called. It's like the
Okay.
house, the boards of like positions of the people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was, you know, I was like, oh, is this a memorial? And the wife said, no, these are working officials. So you know the official's name, who he is, what he does, and it's all posted outside the government building. And that kind of ties in with what you say, you know, you trust these people. Here they are, here's their face, you know.
Yeah. I think, you know, people are qualified to do the job. I don't think in the UK especially, and again, I don't want to make this like, oh, this is something that I like better than the UK. But I just think, you know, people are going to have, you know, this is just my opinion. Other people are going to have their opinions. And that's completely fine. But I think that we want people to. I wonder what's happened there. He's got a mosquito. He's got a mosquito. It might be a dragon.
Oh.
He went to the red dragon, didn't he, for lunch? Maybe the red dragon escaped and followed him home.
Sorry about that. I had to let the cat in, and the mozzie took advantage and slipped.
I thought it might have been a red dragon from the other
day. Bear with.
So so I think that it's important to let the people get on with their job. You know, we vote for them, they get in office, then let them do their job and stop bickering and finding scandals, or find out that 15 years ago they slept with someone they shouldn't have, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I've just discovered that my wife is on the web with several pages open, so that might be why we're getting a bit of a stream issue. So I've asked her to turn her internet off. Hopefully that'll cure it. Right, my second thing, because it isn't the same as yours, I'm going to go with ozone or Azon.
Ah, okay.
Azon. If you're not in Russia, you may not know what Azon is. Azon is a cross between Amazon, Argos, and a high street shop, all kind of rolled into one. So just like Amazon, you'll go onto a website and you'll find something that you like. You'll get different sellers selling the same product and different prices and different delivery dates, and you can pick the thing that you want and you click buy. Now, the difference between that and Amazon is it doesn't get sent to your house. It goes to an Azon shop. And certainly in my village, there's probably 10 in my village alone. They're everywhere. I'm sure Sam will vouch for this. Azon is everywhere. So your item will be sent to this shop. You'll get a notification that say it's arrived. You'll go up there with your barcode. You'll scan your barcode. They'll bring your item out. Now, the first thing that you do is you'll open your item to check it. If it's not what you want, if it's not what you've ordered, if it's damaged, if you just don't like the colour, if the size is wrong, you just say, no thanks, and they send it back and they pay you your money right there, right then. It's sent back into your bank. If you order clothes, they've got a changing room, so you can try the clothes on in the shop. So you can order 2 or 3 pairs of trainers and send 2 back and keep the one that fits. But the thing that I found really good, which was something that we were subject to the other day, we bought a Hoover about 8 months ago, a robot Hoover, and it packed up. It just decided it didn't want to work properly. But we bought it from Azon, and me being a sceptical Brit, I thought we've got no chance of being able to send that back. Bear with me, my cat is going to get out, idiot. Screams to get in, screams to get out. I thought we've got no chance of sending that back. It was 8 months ago. And the wife said, no problem. And we literally, you fill out a quick form on Azon. They send you a link. You take it back to the shop. They scan it in. And before we got home, the wife had the full refund. So the minute it actually gets to Azon, they've received it. You get your money back, regardless of what you know. If you're returning it because it's faulty or it's not performing how you thought it would or whatever, you've got a list of reasons that you can return it for, and you'll select that reason, and then they'll just send you a link saying, "Yep, fine," and they pay you as soon as you've taken it to the shop. So for me, it's almost like, well, you don't need anything else. You just buy everything from Amazon. So for me, that's a
People are talking
thing.
about there's an echo on your microphone.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's fine for me as well. I haven't got an echo from you, so I don't know if it's. I don't know why that is. I was going to say that Matt just wrote saying his wife gets Matt from Alfred's Russian Adventures. He just wrote saying that he gets Amazon delivery. Amazon gets delivered to his house. His wife orders a lot of things on Amazon and gets delivered at home as well. So.
Amazon or Ozone?
No, not sorry, Amazon. Ozone, yeah, Ozone.
Yeah.
Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, from what I can tell, I think pretty much everybody orders from Amazon. But the other one,
I like Wildberries. Yeah, so I'm a Wildberries person. Yeah, I prefer Wildberries. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's personal choice. But they're usually side by side, aren't they? And then in our village, we've got Wildberries and Ozone side by side, and the person that's running Ozone is also in Wildberries, and they've got just a curtain, and they just they just pop through the curtain.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I can hear that echo, and I don't know why that is. So, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I've really no idea why. I've tried it with headphones and without. It doesn't seem to make any difference. Right. What did you guys vote in the UK elections recently?
I didn't. Yay.
Yeah, no. No particular reason other than I had better things to do, to be fair. It's two parties reading the same manifesto, having the same policies, different figurehead. It's just all the same. So, and people say vote reform, it will change. You're holding headphones. Why is that?
Yeah, so people are saying it's because I haven't got headphones that the echo's coming in from me to you.
Right.
But like, I don't understand why my microphone's not working on the headphones for some reason.
Yeah, as soon as you plug your headphones in, I get terrible feedback. So maybe that's something. I'm
gonna go and get some. I'll get some more headphones tomorrow, guys.
Yeah,
and
we'll persevere.
I get some of the cool ones that Chris has got because I've got like these wire ones at the moment, old school.
Old school. Have you got an iPhone?
Yeah, but I still use these
Wired
things.
Ones.
Yeah, because I've got an old MacBook, so I need one of. So I plug in this this thing. This what's it called?
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
I'll get a new set tomorrow and try them. Sailor wants to know, Sam, have you ever considered going back to the UK for good?
No, I mean sometimes I do miss the UK. I miss. I was actually speaking about this the other day. Apparently, they said you've got to mute if you're not speaking. Don't know if that'll help. But then it's going to be a bit weird, isn't it? You're going to keep muting and unmuting. I don't know if that's going to.
Yeah.
So basically, or do I have to mute when I'm not speaking? Let us know, Meme Coin Mafia. Cool name. Yeah, so I do miss the UK, but some of the things is when you don't live in the UK and you live in Russia, you get to be nostalgic for only the things you really like, which is really nice. So I've been watching the football lately, and I'm like, oh, it's great watching England play, especially when you're abroad. And I miss certain foods, like I love Indian food, so I really miss Indian food. We've got Indian here, but it's still the same. And I miss my friends. But when I'm there, I'm like, oh man, I miss Russia so much. So yeah, I don't think I would like to go and spend some time there. See my parents, you know what I mean? See my brother, see my mates, go to places and stuff. But what's weird is everyone's changed. In your mind, everyone's still the same as they were when you left. But then you go back and everyone's like completely different. It's very weird. You expect to go around and see your mates at the same house, chilling in the same thing, doing the same stuff, and everyone's like growing up with kids and stuff. It's really weird, you know. So yeah. So sometimes I do miss things about the UK, yeah. But live there full time? No, I don't think so.
No, same. Are we still working? Yes, good. Okay. So I just muted my mic, and I think that cured the echo. So maybe if you mute when I'm speaking, but
Okay.
I think we're just going to be. Yeah, that seems to work. So definitely, it's a headphone issue. But you know, we might forget to unmute, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. How long since Sam has been home? I would miss my native language if I lived in a foreign country. Yeah. Constantine from Athens. Hi. Yeah, I think we're just gonna play it by ear. We'll see. If we remember to mute the mics, we will, and if we don't, we won't. It's simple as that. Let's move on to a third one. I'm trying to. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm trying to do things that I like that are not the obvious, because everybody comes on and says, "Oh, the food." Oh, the weather, oh, the culture, oh, you know, it's the same, and maybe people want to see something different, and I think that's possibly my advantage, because I'm seeing so many things all the time, and I've got a big list of stuff that I like. So my third thing is going to be tradesmen. Certainly building a house, we have used an awful lot of tradesmen. Plumbers, electricians, plasterers, wallpaper, you know, decorators, swimming pool, you know, all sorts of stuff. And what I love, apart from something like specialists like the swimming pool, but generally plumbers, electricians are absolutely readily available. There isn't a case of ringing a plumber and him saying, "Oh, I'll fit you in August, maybe September." It's like, if you ring them in the morning, they'll be around in the afternoon. And they're very cheap, you know, in comparison to the UK, extremely cheap. But you know, just generally, even out here, I would say that they're very good and very good quality and very good value. So for me, tradesmen, it's a breath of fresh air. Like I say, coming from the UK, if you need an electrician, you're waiting weeks. You need a plumber, you're waiting weeks. Oh, I'm too busy. I've got this, got that. And if they do come round, they'll absolutely, you'll need to take out a mortgage. Whereas here, you know, they'll come round and they'll say, "Oh, it's £10." You know, we had some aircon guys come out. Two guys that were here 2 hours and charged us 25 quid. Well, not even 25 quid, probably £22. Including the call out and to fix the air conditioning. And we had the pool guy. He came out. The call out charge was £9. Now, you know, in the UK, you're looking at £65 plus for a call out before they do anything. But £9 it was here. So for me, that is a big plus as well. Tradesmen, if you're building a house, certainly in this region, readily available, very helpful, and very quick. Don't forget to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's really interesting. I often find it's interesting how you think is, you know, you call because you need something, and you expect them to say, "Yeah, well, maybe next week we can go." And they're like, "Yeah, I can be there after half an hour." And you think, "What? Didn't expect that." And then you think it's going to be loads of money. It's been loads of times when I think it's going to be a fortune. I think I've only got like 20 quid here. What am I going to do? And they say, "How much?" That could be a fiver. I think, what? Or they come, do something, didn't work out, and you say, "How much?" Like, I didn't, nothing. It's free. Nothing. We didn't do anything. I'm like, what? It's weird. You know? Yeah. I found that. I found when I was on when I'm doing the B Road Russia thing, and I'm meeting people that have got all types of weird cars and stuff, and these different like things that they make and stuff, these three-wheeled big monster truck kind of stuff. You know, I go on them and I expect, you know, I say, you know, take me for a ride on it, and I say, "Oh, how much? You know, let me give you some money." Like, "No, don't want anything." I'm like, "Well, let me buy your bottle something." "No, don't want anything at all." You know, and you think, wow, just ridiculous, you know. Yeah, like the guy that cleaned the snow for me, you know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm come from the UK fairly recently, so I'm seeing that difference as a big difference, of, you know, a big impact straight away. So yeah. Right, next, you, Sam. What's your
I'm going to say activities. Now, I don't know if like my mates in the UK, and we were never big on activities. So I don't know if like there is loads of activities that people can do, but just there's activities that you can get involved in really quickly and really easy. Like the banya that I go to once a week, my friends also go to the lake 3 times a week at 8 o'clock in the morning and go fishing all year round and have a breakfast on the lake. They've got a gas cylinder and like a what's it called, stove and stuff, and make scrambled eggs on the lake all year round, no matter what the temperature is. And then there's other things like at the moment everyone goes sapboarding, boating, supboarding, isn't it? Stand up paddleboard, boating, and then there's horse riding. We all go swimming. I went swimming today in the lake. Just went out of town, quick swim, came back again. We often meet for dinner. I know a lot in the UK people do that as well, but and then there's just so much more. There's just so much going on all the time that you can just attend and be part of. There's all kind of like events, and they have a thing called master class, which is an expert teaching something, whether that be pottery, whether that be bead making jewelry, or I went to a tango night the other night. Just all sorts of really easy access to it all. I'm invited to another event next week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film there or not. It's a big long table in the middle of in the countryside, where they've got like 30 people, and you have to get a ticket, and it's like it's almost like a restaurant in the middle of the countryside, and it's going to be interesting. But just these things like this, and the atmosphere with the people when you go to these events, it's just so nice and refreshing, and so many things just like literally all the time going on. Learn how to do this, learn how to do that, and it's just easy access and often. And I think and people often say to me like, "What about girls? What do girls do? Girls do everything beauty-wise." There's just been the event Ivan Kupala. I don't know if you know this thing. It's like a pagan festival celebrating the end of summer, the end of the what's it called, the solstice or whatever. Yeah. It's a bit late, but like it's like a pagan festival, and it's not like they were pagans. It's just kind of like a women's event. They all wear white. They dance around in circles with folk music and jump through the fire, just as a bit of fun, right? And at the same time, they take part in little women's activities and stuff. And there's just so much like things like that to do with also like people always say to me, "Oh, Russians got a really what do you call it? The pay in Russia is really poor." Well, everyone I know that's a woman, every female that I know doesn't work for anyone. They've got their own little business, whether that be photography, whether that be beauty products, whether that be makeup artist, whether it be something to do with filming, just all sorts of little things. And they have different events. Yoga in the park, really popular at this time of year. Loads of my friends that are females do yoga in the park every morning. Pilates in the park. So much just constantly going on. Lots of different groups about different events in Vladimir and just everything. Yesterday, I went to Suzdal, a town nearby, which is very picturesque, and there was a concert by Russia's most famous conductor with the orchestra from a famous opera house in St. Petersburg. It's completely free. 4,500 people packed inside the territory within the Kremlin walls watching this. Everyone brought a chair with them, sat down and watched this classical opera performance, and just things like that. Just constantly things going on, In winter, it's a little bit different. I think in winter, you have to have a winter hobby to appreciate winter more. A lot of my friends are like, "Oh, I can't believe winter's over." I'm like, "Oh, thankfully it's over," right? They're like, "Oh, because they like snowboarding and skiing and ice skating and, all the winter things, right?" And I haven't really got a winter sport that I like. So for me, winter's a bit difficult because I like to film when it gets dark at 3:30, so less filming hours. But yeah, just constantly the amount of things to go to and do, and then there's barbecue that I love, and camping and all sorts. My friends go kayaking all the time. Just just constant things going on, and it's like, and maybe maybe in other countries you have that as well. I don't know, but here, just like there's always something, and it's
yeah, and the cost of it as well. I mean, as you touched on there, people say that everything's a lot cheaper in Russia, but nobody's paid any money. The wages are so poor, but it's all relative. And yeah, okay, the wages are certainly not the same as they are in the UK, but the cost of living isn't the same. Not even close to being the same. It's not comparable. Most Russians live probably a lifestyle that Britons used to live 40 years ago, where one person went to work and usually the man went to work and the wife stayed at home, looked after the children, looked after the house. That's just a thing of the past in the UK. If you're on benefits, you're at home, but aside from that, usually both parents are working. And kids are latchkey kids. That's not a common thing here. In Russia, most families, it's one person going out to work, from what I've seen. So I think the difference, yes, okay, the salaries aren't the same, but the cost of living is nowhere near the same. You can have a very, very good life here on a low-ish wage, and that's the difference. In the UK, you need a high wage just to keep your head above water. Let's have a look at some questions, because I'm missing loads of questions. North Adventures, he lives in Moscow, says it's the best country for him. Yeah, for me, the thing is, everybody thinks of Moscow, and a lot of the Brits, when they come here, they go to Moscow, and I guess it's work related. But Russia's a big place, and there's more to Russia than just Moscow. Certainly where I live, I'm in a wine region. I'm 20 minutes from the coast. There's so much around me. I'm 300 kilometers from Sochi. I'm 100 kilometers from Crimea. Sailor commented earlier, Chris doesn't need to go anywhere. I don't need to go anywhere else. Everything is around me. I've got a nice home. I've got a swimming pool in the garden. I've got, all the food around me is very fresh and instantly accessible, anytime. There's always a market on every day somewhere for food, fresh fruit and vegetables. And there's so much to do in this region as well. And like you say, there's always something going on somewhere. And most of it's free. And if it isn't free, it's very, very cheap. On the stand-up paddle boards, I noticed when we were down the beach looking at the dolphins, they were hiring them out. And they were about £7 for an hour. I think that'd probably be about £25 for an hour in the UK. I'm guessing, based on what I've noticed recently going back to the UK. So yeah, certainly if things are charged for, they're still very, very cheap. But you have to remember that's right on the beach and it's geared up for tourists. So some Russians might be saying, well, it's not cheap for us. But how many Russians that are local would go down the beach and go stand up paddleboarding? It is a thing for tourists. So, the tourists are going to come here and they're going to be able to afford to do that quite easily. Big community spirit in Russia. Yeah, that is definitely a big thing I've noticed. There really is a community spirit. Even on the small development, everybody chats, and there's a group chat, on WhatsApp. So people will ask, you got a problem with your electricity, or is your internet gone out? There's always something. And certainly up the village, up the town, there's always something happening in the park, and there's a real sense of community as well. People, you can tell that if you had a problem, somebody will help you out. Michael, there are all kinds of regions in Russia they're respecting. Yeah, equally. Yeah. Strangely enough, parents of the current top Ukrainian military commander live in Vladimir. Interesting. Catch you guys later. Russians founded. Can you play the piano? I think people want to know if you can play that piano, Sam. Brits don't know any other Russian cities but Moscow. Yeah, I think if you stop the average Brit on the street and said, name something in Russia, first thing they're going to say is Moscow, possibly St. Petersburg, and then they're going to go, that's it. They're you know, their knowledge of Russian or Russia is, yeah, based on the news, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny that is, because people say to me, whereabouts you live in Russia? I say, well, you know, what's town called? I say Vladimir. They say, oh, whereabouts is that? I think, come on, it doesn't really matter if I say explain where it is. You don't know where. You don't even, if I said whereabouts Moscow is located, you wouldn't know, would you? So what's the point in me really explaining it to you? You know?
Yeah. I say to people, you know, I'm not actually living in a Napa, but I say a Napa because it's the nearest big town. If I said my village, you know, most people wouldn't even be able to say it. So, you know, I just pick a Napa. But even when I do that, they go, "Oh, an Napa? Oh, yeah, I went there on holiday." And you go, "No, that's a Napa, not a Napa." And they're, "Oh, where's a Napa?" Well, it's on the coast of the Black Sea. Okay, where's that? Well, it's across the water from Turkey. Ah, oh, right. And then I say, you know, or I'm 60 miles from Crimea. Oh, I've heard of Crimea. Oh, yeah, that's where that's, you know, it's like, yeah, most people have no clue. And that's a big difference between Russians and Brits. Russians' geography, based on the fact that they're interested in world events, so their understanding of geography is far superior to us. Right, next, go on. Your turn. What's next?
Okay, so I've just unmuted myself. Let me just look at my list to see what's next on my list. 1 second. It's going to be something very interesting. I can tell you that. So, okay, this is something that I like. So Soviet, because I really like Soviet stuff. I really like going to places where they have a lot of Soviet things left. Whether that be kind of like a factory that used to be, or, you know, that was run during the Soviet Union, or like an area, a housing area that housed the people that went to worked in the Soviet factory or the farm, right? Or maybe a sanatorium that was a Soviet one, or a children's pioneer camp. These places that are kind of now abandoned, and it's weird because it's like, you know, people go to Italy, to Rome, to see the Colosseum. You know, 2,000 years ago it was built in, or whatever. And the Soviet history is only the Soviet things that aren't still being used were only abandoned 30 years ago. So it's like you're living in a place that's got the Soviet Empire in it, and it's just great to be able to go to places and see the reminiscence, is that the word, or the remains of Soviet life. And it's great, and because obviously a lot of the people, when you go to places, are still have these great memories of life in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And this for me is really good, because in the Soviet Union, in the UK, well, in the UK, you're taught Soviet Union is kind of like cold, horrible place with dictator, bread, no bread,
vodka,
Jews, depressing, horribleness, basically, and then at the same time, Cold War. Whereas so many cool things about the Soviet Union, right? People, when I go to like villages now, I deliberately go up to a lady on the street, you know, and say, "Excuse me, you know, have you lived here long?" And they say, "Yeah, I've lived here. I was born here." And I say, "Oh, brilliant! Can you tell me what it used to be like in the Soviet Union?" And they'll speak to me for an hour about all the things, all the places they went to, and so much social programs in that time. They'd give you a holiday, and take, you know, every year they'd send you to another city, or you'd send you to university, to a different place, and you'd go on, I don't know, like on a cruise to somewhere, or go caving, or something. You know, there's always different things going on that you have no idea about, and that talk about the university and the time there. And then these little areas where in the Soviet Union, they have purpose-built settlements that build a factory or fabricate. It's like a
we've got a few around here.
A factory for fabrics, basically, whether, you know, like whatever their clothes or whatever they, you know, and and they'd have that factory, and then they'd have like the houses there for 5,000 employees, right? And then in that they'd have a big Lenin statue in the middle in the courtyard, and a house of culture next to it, and a club, and maybe a theatre. Sometimes it's all in one, sometimes it's separate depending on the size. And you know, just imagine what it would have been like to live there, because it's kind of like standalone in the countryside, right? And you know, when it was in its heyday, in the heyday. It just must have been incredible. And the fact that you can still go there and speak to people who are still witnesses from that time period and tell you all about it, it's just great. Really is great. I know I find a lot of people, they are offended sometimes when I go to places that are abandoned, because for them it's difficult to see it in that state, because they remember it as being really great. And so if I'm filming it what it's like now, they ask me to try and find information what it was like when it was in its heyday, to show the difference. So it's not just like, look at it, it's abandoned, you know, because it hurts them. But yeah, it's great. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing. It's obviously, for me, I didn't live in the Soviet Union, so it's just great to be able to go and see and speak to these people.
Yeah. My experience of the Soviet Union was when I found a rusty piece of metal in the garden when we were developing the house and digging the garden for the swimming pool. I don't know if you've seen on my channel, I've got a Soviet era multi-tool, kitchen multi-tool. And it's just the coolest thing. It's just a big piece of pressed steel, but it's like an apple corer and a peeler and a knife. It's got a serrated edge on it, and it's a cheese grater, and it's a bottle opener, and it's all in one piece. And it's just, like I say, a piece of pressed steel, but it's like 0.5 millimeter thick. And this steel, you could run a car over this thing. It is absolutely indestructible. And it's just really cool, you know. And I found it as a rusty mess in the garden, and I've cleaned it up. And it's one of my prized possessions. I've got it, you know, I've got it out in the garage, hanging on a hook, and it's, you know, I love it. It's a, you know, it's just a really cool thing, you know. And certainly about dachas and stuff, you know, that's something that I've been told that in Soviet era, when you worked for a company, if you worked in Siberia or you worked up north, they would provide a second home for you in the south. So in our region, there are lots of developments, little settlements that have been second houses or second homes, but not so much a home that you go and live in, just something that you go and visit for the weekend and you know, tend your crops, you know, dig your garden and vegetables and all the rest of it. Some of them have been converted into proper residence now, but there's still an awful lot of them that literally are a falling down shack. So it's a really eclectic thing, and I'm going to be covering that in a future video because there's a few near me, and it's really interesting. So I'll be covering that off. But yeah, it's one of the things that is cool, and certainly there are a lot of people, and you still see CCCP signs everywhere, and you still see a lot of people who've got fond memories of the Soviet era. Things for a lot of people were a lot better.
So it's not CCCP. It's SSSR. It's just Russian. It's just Russian alphabet, isn't it? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
See,
that's why I'm struggling. Yes, no, you're right. It's SSS. Yeah. That's why I'm struggling with the language. I still see it as CCCP. Right. Let's do another. I'm just going to answer that question. LN, is Sam based in Vladimir because foreigners couldn't live in border regions like Krasnodar? Well, that's not strictly true. There is a law that prohibits foreigners buying, I think, within 100 kilometers of the coast. I mean, obviously, I live 20 kilometers from the coast, but this house was bought by my wife. But I think if you're a foreigner, there are specific laws that stop foreigners coming to coastal regions and buying up all the properties, which personally I think is a good thing. What about you, Sam? Do you know, is that something that you've noticed
about specific laws to do with buying land or
buying and building? Yeah, for a foreigner.
Okay, so if you're buying land for an individual build of a house, then the most you can buy as a foreigner is, until you have permanent residency, I believe, the most you can buy is 1,500 square meters. However, there's always ways around stuff. I mean, let's imagine that you come over with a partner and you find a plot of land that is, you know, I don't know, 3,000 square meters. You could ask the owner, say, look, I'm definitely buying. Can you split it up into 2 parts? And me and our wife will both buy each one. We'll put the land on one, and then there you go. We've got a 3,000 square meter one. So there's always ways around stuff. You could even, you know, register on your child or your brother or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And like, you could probably split that land up if you've got family members wherever they are in the world. As long as you've got the right to buy on their behalf, you could you could probably buy a plot of land with all your friends owning it, you know, and split it up into and you know, a few hectares or whatever, and split it up into little parts. And you know, as long as the owner knows that you're definitely going to buy it, so split it all up into different parts and get the rights to buy it on behalf of all your friends, and then they'll all own a piece of land that you trust them, and there you go. You've got a.
There's always a way.
As long as the plots on one of the plots, or as long as the house on one of the plots, and not, you know, in between the two, whatever. You know, then, you know, the other plots of land, well, they're your friends' plots, aren't they, or whatever. So, you know.
Yeah, there's always a way of.
There's always a way around stuff. Or you could register a business, and the business could buy the plot of land, right?
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of ways around stuff. So, yeah.
Maybe that's something you need to cover in a future video in depth about buying land and, you know, your options. North Adventures, don't get me wrong, I've visited so many cities and I'm posting on my channel now. All cities have something special. Well, he's obviously a multitasker. Well done, North Adventures. If you're watching this and posting on your channel, good effort. Well done.
Hang on a second, what's the channel called?
North Adventures.
All right, so North Adventures, well, I've forgotten your name, but you wrote to me, right, about giving you a shout out. So I actually read the message only today. But yeah, I can give you a shout out and stuff like that. I'll write to you, and we'll see how you do it. I really like your shorts. So I've noticed on your shorts you got a lot of views, mate. So yeah, I think I'll do a shout out for you, no problem at all. Yeah. And in fact, everyone, North Adventures, go and find him now and follow him. Yeah.
There you go. Simple as that. Let's have a scroll down. I know I've missed loads of stuff, people, loads of questions. It's really difficult to keep up with a conversation and watch all the questions as well. So forgive me if I haven't answered your question. Do you know what? Just ask it the same, you know, ask the same question over and over, and maybe I'll pick it up then. Football. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
It's not going to be on TV here. Yeah, they're not showing it. They're showing the Spain game now, but they're not showing the England match. It's not on TV, so we've got to whack on the VPN and go watch on Sky Sports, basically. Yeah.
A bunch of grown men running around a field kicking a bag of wind.
Someone's mentioned about Bald and Bankrupt. So Bald and Bankrupt, I think it's very clever because it's a YouTuber, famous YouTuber who came. Okay. He started off in India, I think, doing a couple of videos, but then most of his videos were kind of Russia and former Soviet republics. But he got kicked out of Russia because he had a fundraiser for the Ukrainian embassy to support Ukraine in the. You know, obviously wasn't a good thing to do.
That's like breaking the YouTube rule.
Yeah, so he got obviously deported from Russia. But I think he could pretty much come back. I think it's been about 3 years already that apparently he got banned for. But Bald and Bankrupt is interesting because I think he has a moral responsibility to tell people that the places he goes to, he's specifically filming the worst, most rundown places in Russia, instead of saying, oh no, this is just what it's like outside Moscow, because that's what he does. And therefore his videos all look like the Borat village. I don't know if you've watched the film Borat.
So he's deliberately trying to show
but at the
Russia
same time,
in a certain light.
Yeah, but at the same time he'll say, no, I can't help it. This is just what it looks like outside of Moscow. So, and the majority of people that watch him aren't really fans of Russia. So they'll just think, yeah, that's the case. I saw him on radio. He did a radio interview saying, I just want to show you Russia what it's like. You know, I'm tired of people showing it as poor infrastructure and alcoholics. But then in every single video, he'll have an alcoholic and show poor infrastructure. And I've got another second channel called B Road Russia, where I deliberately go to places that are, kind of abandoned Soviet places. But I'll say in the video, I am deliberately going to this abandoned Soviet former military town today. I won't say, oh, look, we're going outside Moscow, so it's going to be crap. Oh,
Yeah, I
look,
see.
everything's crap.
It's all in the
You know,
wording, isn't it?
yeah.
A lot of the time.
So yeah. So anyway, but that's my just personal opinion about bored and bankrupt. Anyway,
Yeah.
obviously everyone's got their own
To be
opinion.
honest, when I heard bored and bankrupt, I thought somebody was talking about me.
Ha.
Thomas Keller, how is my Russian language coming along?
You could just
The
say loads
alphabet.
of things now.
I'm down. No, I'm down with the alphabet now. So I know the alphabet. I know the sounds, and I know all the symbols and everything. So yeah, I've got the alphabet. My stepdaughter is my Russian coach at the moment, so she is a bit like a pit bull. Every day, come on, you've got school, and she makes me sit down, and we sit down for half an hour or an hour every day. I've had a few days off recently because it was my birthday, and we went around some friends and went to the doctors today. And yeah, so I've had a couple of days of skiving, but I'm back to it tomorrow. So yeah, yeah. Tatiana, that's Tatiana, isn't it? Yeah. Chris, are you trying to study Russian? I'm trying, but I'm an old dog and it's very difficult for me.
Yeah, it's very difficult to study. I couldn't study it either. It's just like, when you're a kid, if you're born here, that's something that's really difficult for me. Is there's so many things that you go through as a person when you're born till age 20. And so even when I'm with my mates and they're all joking, they'll remember the first book they read in school and have a laugh about it, or a song that was played. Just like maybe we'd know without thinking, we'd probably know all the songs from Oliver Twist, right? Even though we don't,
Yeah.
But like these things like that, and someone will remember a song and then they'll have like a joke that's got double meaning, and it's all to do with that, all the information that was soaked into your brain in the first 20 years of your life. And when you come to Russia as a foreigner, that's not going to happen. So all of that you from 0 to 20 that you learn, that goes into your brain about everything to do with culture, from culture and language and music and everything else. No matter if we learn fluent, we won't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Thomas, no. In answer to your question, my wife speaks Russian very precisely, and because she speaks it very precisely, I find it very difficult to understand. So, and also she's quite unforgiving when I say something. So I'll say, for example, and I'm gonna still screw this up. So forgive me, any Russians that are watching. Здравствуйте. It took me, I reckon, a month even to get to that standard. And whenever I said it, the wife went, "No, you're not even saying the word." And I'm thinking, well, it sounds the same to me. And she's saying it's not even close. So no, we've agreed not to have the wife teach me, because
you see the thing with that is, so I can't pronounce I can't roll my R's, right? So that's a massive problem with Russian.
Thing in Russia.
The thing is, when it comes to that, usually everyone kind of mumbles it. So if you see, so we walk in the shop, we say, "There's that." And then the person like, "There's that." And that's kind of how it is. So you can get away with that one fine. Wherever you go, you can kind of say, "There's that," and I say, "There's that." And it's kind of, so
I've kind of, I think that the more I've said it, I've probably given a different version every time. So, but also they shorten it and they change it, and this is something with the Russian language. Yes.
Yeah, that's like the easiest probably way.
Yeah. And this is something with the Russian language. They have an awful lot of words for the same meaning, much more than we do in the UK. It's a much more descriptive language, and it's tough. It is a tough language. Let's have a look. Right, let's do a fifth. Guys, this is how far we are. We need to pick the pace up, mate. Right, I'm gonna go with safety.
That was on mine as well, actually. It's good.
Perfect. I have never felt so safe in a country as I do in Russia. Despite only living 60 miles from Crimea, and despite the current situation, I have travelled all around Europe. I've been through most European countries at one point or another, and I have never ever felt as safe as I do here in Russia. You can walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning without any worries or concerns. And you know that if your wife's going out for a walk, she's safe as well. And case in point, kids are safe. You know, that you see kids, certainly in my region, in my village, you see kids hitchhiking. Now that's just unheard of in the UK, and I've covered that off before. But that really blew my mind. You know, kids hitchhiking. It's like, what on earth? But it's a different attitude and it's a different approach, and Russians are respectful, and they certainly understand that kids are kids, you know, and they're not to be messed around with. So am I suggesting that all across Russia is absolutely perfect? No, but what I am saying is, from my experience, the safety element of Russia is phenomenal. Massive difference. And what about you? You say that it's
I feel really safe here. So there's a thing really with Russians when it comes to foreigners as well. So obviously it's great for if you're a foreigner, you come into Russia, or just as a a non-Russian, right? I always say foreigner as if I'm a Russian and you're foreign, but I'm foreign too, right? It's kind of like they don't want to portray Russia badly. So they'd probably, even at a point where they'd probably, if they were so angry with you, they probably still would refrain from, if you did something just to really bad to annoy them, they'd still be like, okay, he's foreign, just let it go. Because it's just it's looked upon as this, portraying Russia badly is frowned upon. So you'll actually find that they might even go out of the way to be extra nice, because they want you to go home with an amazing impression, even if you're living here permanently, right? They don't know that. For you, you're always going to be a foreigner, right? Going to be here 50 years, you're still going to be a foreigner, right? So yeah, it's safe, ridiculously safe. The amount of times, imagine you get pulled over by the police, right? The police will be like, "Oh, where are you from?" Like, "From England." I'm like, "Oh, right, wow, take a picture with you." It's like, what? Stupid things like that. You think, well, that's just so weird, right? It's like, I can look at your passport. Oh wow, look, this guy. Can we look at it? It's okay to look at it, yeah? It's like, it's just so. It's just like situations like that. I think even with security, I'll go through security and they'll be checking everyone. They're like, okay, you can come through. We're like, you want to check anything? No, it's fine. You just come through. Yeah. Or they'd show your passport, I'll just show the edge of it. I've obviously got to use the Russian one now, but I'd show the British one and just see the front of it. Like, okay, fine, go through. I'm like, I could be a tourist.
Yeah, I had that in the bank when I opened a bank account. I got my passport out, and the lady obviously looked at the passport and was just like, American? And I said, no, United Kingdom, UK, England. Angliski? Yeah. It's like, and she'd never seen an English passport. So, it was like a real novelty. And I had to, my wife had to show her what bits, she knew. Obviously, completely different language. She doesn't read it. She's never seen an English passport. So, that's something I've noticed as well. Let's do one more for you.
I had number 5 that I wanted to just touch on number 5 quickly. My number 5, because obviously I had safety on there as well. Yeah. But so my number 5 was,
and then we'll move on to our hates.
Very cool. So this is something like men are men and women are women. Now, and obviously there are people of different sexualities in Russia. That's obviously is everywhere, right? But people say to me things like on my videos, Sam, stop hassling the women, or stop, how dare you approach that person? Because we don't have that thing, that feeling that people I know. If you live outside of Russia, you haven't been to Russia, you have this sense that there's more going on to something. When I approach a woman for a video, I'm genuinely just approaching her to ask her a question, or the other video I made the other day, to buy her an ice cream, right? No alternative motive, no trying to get with her, no trying to pull her, get the phone number, nothing like that. I'm going up to a woman in the street and saying, hey, can I buy you an ice cream? and they're like, yes, and I buy them an ice cream. And they enjoy the ice cream. And I ask a question, you know, how are you enjoying some? And they say, fine. And I say, brilliant, have a great day. And they go. And they don't walk away thinking, maybe he's a maniac and wants to kill me. Or maybe I should sue him because he looked at me wrong. Or, you know, no, there's none of that. None of that is, we don't even think of that. You know, there's a person who's a man, right, doing something nice for somebody. That's it. No, nothing else going on there.
No.
Whereas people just don't get that. Like people in the UK or the US are actually saying, I can't believe you do that. So creepy. I'm like,
yeah.
It's creepy to buy someone an ice cream. Like, why is it creepy? Or women
because
are like,
it would be in the UK.
That's hassling them. You know,
yeah.
I'm a man. I'm doing a job as a man to be nice to somebody.
It would be creepy in the UK. That's the problem. That's the difference. You know,
like, why is it creepy? What's creepy about it? Do you know what I mean? But like,
Because
that's the thing, it's all in the UK or whatever. You've dreamt up that it's creepy, but there's nothing creepy about it, right?
Yeah,
I'm a man.
It's just the way we're programmed.
Men or generous, and men are the protectors of women and the people that help them, right? So if I see a woman in the street and I buy an ice cream, what's the problem? It's an ice cream, right? Yeah. And I think, that's something that I don't think about that. In the UK, you say, oh, you do that, this will happen to you. Well, blimey, you can't buy someone an ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, that's
but
the
that's
thing.
Because in the UK, we are brainwashed and programmed to be fearful and scared, and the news is always full of rapes and murders and everything else, and kids, you know, being messed around with. So it's permanently rammed down your throats that you can't walk out in the streets because they're unsafe. So you've always got to be guarded. And everybody in the UK is wound up and uptight because they are just waiting for something to happen. So if you were to do something like that in the UK, it would be just perceived as an advance in some way, and that's how people view it. But in Russia, the culture isn't like that. It's not. Nobody's running around in fear all the time. Everybody's just out enjoying their lives. So when you do exactly what you do, it's perfectly normal here. But from the outside in the UK, they'll think, oh yeah, he's just trying to get with that girl, or he's a pervert, or he's this or that. Yeah, but that's because you've got a sick, twisted mind. It's got nothing to do with that in Russia. They're just not wired like that. So, completely different. Completely different. Tatiana, she adores English humour. I haven't got any humour.
Sarcasm,
yes. That's what we have in spades. But humour, no.
Public holidays, we have loads of public holidays. The day of, you can even find a public holiday every day. Well, not the public holiday, but there'll be the day of the banker, the day of the jurist, lawyer, the day of the
teacher's day.
Teacher. There'll always be a day of something. Some of them are public holidays, like probably the day of Din's nanny, or the day of learning. Things like that. But then there's loads of holidays, and that's why there's always something going on. You can find a holiday out of nothing, like if you want to. Husband Russian, should we meet my wife? I don't know what that is.
No.
Nick, Mark, I don't know what you mean. Or did I say that maybe by mistake? Something I don't know. In Russian, it's not me to. That's for help.
Yeah, violate personal.
No, space, you see, I don't agree with that. So Nikolai said it's. To violate personal space. That's the thing. Like, I chat to people all the time, right? And obviously I chat to them because I need it for the video, but also you'll be surprised how much people open up if you just chat to them. Like, as I say, I'll be standing at the shop and I'll be standing in the queue, and I'll say to them, oh, some really nice bag you've got there, or oh, I like your shoes, or anything. It's a man or woman, and they'll be like, oh wow, yeah, cool. And then you start chatting. And I think, I'm not violating personal space. I'm walking up to someone and asking them nearby. Next, I'm not going up to them and slow dancing with them. I just walk up to them and say, "Can I buy you an ice cream?" And they say yes. They say yes. Say no. They say no. And you can never do. You can never. People are people. Some people react yes. Some people react no. But you can't live your life in fear of violating their personal space, or them being offended that you do this, or whatever. You can just be you.
If you live in the UK, you do. That's the way that's the way it is. Derek, 35 years married, and my wife refuses to teach Russian, only learn with a teacher. Yeah, well, mine would be happy, but I'm not. So I go for the for the swerve on that one, I'm afraid. Have you heard of Tim Kirby? Yeah.
Yeah, I know Tim as well. Yeah.
From Cleveland. That's a bit like going on holiday and when somebody hears that you're English, they go, "Oh, do you know Paul McCartney?" No.
I get stuff like that as well quite a lot.
Yeah. Let's move on to hates or dislikes. Let's call them dislikes.
Okay.
I'm going to start with car prices because I'm a gearhead. I'm a petrol head. That was the first, not shock, but the first sort of bloody hell prices of cars. They're certainly a lot more expensive here than in the UK for a comparable car.
Unless you get a Moscovich.
Yeah, if you buy a Moscovich or a Lada or the Patriot, they're quite well priced, and the Chinese cars are reasonably well priced, but they're still a lot more expensive than they would be in the UK. If you start trying to buy BMWs or Mercs or Range Rovers, I mean, Range Rovers are pretty much double the price here that they are in the UK. So I think the attitude is if you can afford to have a high-end car, then you can afford to pay the price for it. And it's obviously to do with import duties and everything else, I'm sure. But certainly that's something I noticed, the price of cars. And it's part of the reason that I bought a Chinese car in the first place. But I have absolutely no regrets with that. I love the thing. So, that's mine. That's my first dislike. Over to you.
Okay, so one of my dislikes, I'd probably even say I hate it, to be fair, is unfinished building projects. Now, they are finished. It's like when someone will build a...
Don't come here then. Don't come here.
Yeah. So it's in lots of places, and I'm guilty of it too, but in unfinished building projects are either, if you go to there's a consequences of unfinished building projects. So if there's a new apartment block, right, and there's maybe lots of new apartment blocks all in one area, unfortunately, everybody wants the cheapest apartment they can get for the best apartment for the cheapest price. That's just how the market works, right? So if you want to go for the nice new building that's got the cheapest price per meter possible in a good area. But then what happens is, in between the houses, to be one company will build one house, another company will build another house, and the area in between will almost be like wasteland. Because if the company were to add the price of doing all the infrastructure around the building, then that would make the price of it more, and then people would buy apartments in another place instead. So they basically build the house, and it looks like the house is still being done outside, like the road that's connected to it, or the grass verge that's going around it, or where there potentially could be a play area, stuff like that. And it just looks like you think like see like piles of sand and stuff. Think, oh, they're still doing it. No, they just left the pile of sand there, and random bits of like building blocks that they didn't use to actually be left there. And you think there's huge potential for in between the houses. The little stream there, build a little kind of wooden bridge over it, and make it all nice. But it ends up just being pathways that are kind of like the part of the grass where everyone walks over because it's the quickest route to the shop or whatever. It'll be kind of like it'll end up being like a dried, mudded, path, and the rest of it just kind of looks like wild, and it's frustrating. But I understand why that is. It's because people want the cheapest price. But then, I guess what happens then is the company that takes over the maintenance of the house, the lift maintenance, the balconies, they're responsible, and then they can put a plan forward to the residents and say, right, if you give us X amount for the next 5 years, we'll build up the area. But then some people will, some people won't, and you end up getting. Sometimes you get these little gated areas where there's a car park. Car park, you go to the play area, a few benches, stuff like that. But as soon as you go out the gate, while you walk to the next gated area of the other house, it's just like wasteland in between. You think it's such a shame because there's so much potential to make it nice little parks and stuff like that. But whose responsibility is it? To do that.
I think that's probably the problem with the country being so big Space isn't at a premium, so consequently, they'll just, like you say, build and not worry too much about the surrounding area because, you know.
And it works out like that as well with even people building private houses because, you know, obviously people build at a slower pace. Like I've been building for like almost 4 years, right? So my house is incomplete. But a lot of people, what they'll do is the building materials that they didn't use, they'll just dump, not on their land, they don't want to see it, they'll dump opposite their land or in front of their wall, right next to the road. And it's just like, you're on a building site, right? So that's the thing. So Russia, because there's so much construction going on constantly, because there's the whole construction going from the Soviet period or to all the Soviet kind of panel houses, and then people are buying, you know, leaving those panel houses and going to the new houses. So Russia's like a construction site.
Yeah.
You know, they'll do an area, and that area will be finished, but then there's another area under construction. Another one is constant construction. So you do get that feeling sometimes that you're kind of living on a construction site. The town essentially is a construction site.
Well, I effectively have because we've obviously bought a property on a development, and I think that's the difference between what you're saying and what I'm seeing is the new developments. They do build the whole development, and they do you know, take care of the land in between. They build the roads, and they.
It's one company that does the whole thing. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Let's just grab a couple of questions. Aussie Comrade, love your channels, guys. Russia's the best. Plastic Russian, will you get citizenship one day like Sam? Bloody hope so. Yes, I really, really hope so. You know, my goal is obviously temporary residence permit and then permanent residence permit and citizenship after that. Yeah, that would be lovely. But I've got to learn the language. I'm going to need to pass the exam. So that's going to be my biggest problem. And that's the biggest problem for anybody coming to Russia is passing the language test. You've got to know a bit of Russian history. You've got to know about Russian law, and you need to be able to have a conversation in Russian and answer multiple choice questions that are in Russian. So I'm delving into it at the moment. It's going to be challenging. That's for sure. Fireflux, hi. Oh, football, no interest. Sam, what's inside the mug? Is it vodka? No, you don't drink, so I know it's not vodka. Yeah, everything done in Russia seems to make sense. It's a place of common sense, I think, is fair. It's Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's a place of common sense. Russia is, for me, it's just common sense. That's yeah, it is as simple as that. It's just a common sense kind of place, you know. Some things, from a Western's perspective, you'll come here and go, you know, like the health and safety aspect. You'll look at things. If you come from, you know, my career, I really was very heavily involved in health and safety and saw it to the 8th degree. And you come here and you see, you know, tradesmen climbing a ladder that they've nailed together out of bits of wood, bricklayers wearing flip-flops, you know, all of this kind of stuff that you would just be, you know, you just couldn't do it in the UK. But here, you know, I'm sort of horrified and going, yeah, but, you know, what happens if they drop something on their foot? And the answer is, well, they're stupid. And if they drop something on their foot, they hurt their foot, they'll remember next time. You know, it's very much a common sense Darwin kind of theory. Yeah, you know, if you nail a ladder together and you don't do a good job, the first time you use it, you're going to fall off it. So, you know, you'll learn the next time. And if you don't, next. Yeah, let me move on to unmade roads. That's something that you just don't get in the UK. Everything's tarmacked, but the country is this big compared to Russia, and that's the difference. Obviously, new developments like ours, we've just had our road tarmacked. If people have seen on my channel, you can see the road being tarmacked. So I think the new developments in the States are being tarmacked, but there's still an awful lot of unmade roads. And Yeah, I think when you get off of the main road, sometimes that can be a bit frustrating. But once you understand that that's how it is, and also you understand that certain developments will never have a tarmac road because they were, they were cheaper developments because of that. They didn't have tarmac roads. They didn't have mains gas. Um, once you understand that, you understand it, and you get on with it. But certainly that was something that I noticed fairly early on, that the unmade roads, it was part of the choice of the vehicle, to be fair, because I thought, well, if we're going up and down unmade roads, I want four-wheel drive, especially in the winter. What about you, mate? What's your next?
So obviously roads are, fun. It's actually, mine is connected to roads. When there's a crash, the cars stay in the road and wait for the police, which is causes chaos, because if it's a crash on a motorway or a highway or a road that's only got like one lane and there's a bridge at the end of it and there's a crash, that's it, game over. As soon as the crash happens, until the police and the commission or insurance commission person gets there, people just whack on the hazard lights and leave it, and stay somewhere nearby, and you've got to wait. Whereas in the UK, I know that you push the, you'd kind of agree as to who's at fault, right? Perhaps grab a witness, and obviously you're disputing it, but usually it's kind of like, okay, right, we've had a crash, this is what's happened, and then move, and then there might be a dispute later on, but in Russia, the person has to come, the police, and map it all out, and you have to write down your explanation, they have to write their explanation, and if it's just a bump, that's it. That could cause like a traffic jam for 5 hours. Just like a nightmare, right? You quite often find that a car breaks down, it's the lights, right? The car's broken down, it just stays there, and you think, it's frustrating. Obviously, huge crashes and stuff, you get it, right? But quite often when you go on a journey anywhere, a couple of times along that journey, there'll be a crash that, someone just hit the back of someone else, and that's it. A little dent, and that's it. Traffic's backed up for a couple of hours, and it's just frustrating. I don't see why. We've got cameras everywhere.
This is my industry, so I can speak about this. In the UK, if you have a bump, there isn't any legal requirement for the police to attend unless somebody is hurt. And quite often people will say something at the scene and say, oh, yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, they'll ring their insurer, and their insurer will say, no. And it will go, Yeah. And I had an accident years ago where a woman came round a corner on the wrong side of the road and hit me head on.
Wow.
And she got out, and the first thing she said to me is, you were speeding. And I said, I wasn't speeding, but even if I was, I'm on my side of the road. It wouldn't have affected you. You're on the wrong side of the road. Anyhow, I started videoing. So I videoed her, the position of her car, my car, where I was. It was clear. It was obvious. That actually went literally to the 9th hour of going to court. Wow. And my insurance company will ring me up saying, look, are you sure you are prepared to go to court? Because they are not taking responsibility for this, even with the video evidence. And I said, yeah, I'm going to court. And literally, it was the day that I was supposed to go to court, they actually caved in eventually and said, oh, okay, we'll accept it. But the insurers now in the UK will fight every single case. And a lot of the time, they will actually do blanket, if you've got 2 different insurers and they've got 5 claims from their side and 5 claims from the other side, they'll actually do a deal behind the scenes and just go, yeah, well, we'll pay those ones, you pay those ones. And you generally get rogered. And also the fact that you move cars at the scene, so you have a bump and then you move your cars, it's so difficult to prove anything. Whereas here, you're not allowed to move the vehicle.
I think you actually are allowed to move it. But
I've been told you can't.
But people don't, because it's generally, just wait for the police. But I think if you can move it.
Yeah, I was told that they can't move it because if you move it, the police deem you to be at fault.
Possibly, that could be. So I think everyone just waits. No one.
Yeah. And the police come and decide, and they look at the position of the cars. They listen to both people talking, and they say it's your fault. Whereas that doesn't happen in the UK. And I prefer this system because it's a lot more cut and dried. You know, the UK system is you know, you can get a witness. You know, it's just way too abused. So personally, I prefer it. You know, I prefer if you've had a crash, you need a car moves, and the police turn up and
I
make
think
a
it's
decision.
horrible if you're one of the people that's in the queue. That's what it is.
Yes, yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
it is. If you're stuck in the traffic jam, that's the problem. You know.
Yeah. So Joshua, hopefully that answered your question. Me saying that was my industry. I'm doing nothing now in Russia. I am retired. Plastic Russian, if you have a child here with Russia, I am way too old to have another child, so forget that. God, yeah. Can't believe how cheap everything is in Russia. It's comparable. If you come from abroad, you'll find that. Russians, you know, to them it's normal. So, you know, the salary and everything is normal to them, and the prices are normal. But for us, if you come from the UK, yeah, you notice the difference, definitely. Oh dear. Tatiana, I think you think we're more educated than we actually are.
Let's have a look what Tatiana's written.
Did any of you gentlemen read anything of English literature?
It's interesting because in Russia they love the literature and the classics and all this stuff, and I've always feel really uneducated. You know, they were like, "Oh, tell me about what classics you like." I'm like, "Read the famous five when I was a kid." You know,
Travels of Oggy.
You know,
yeah.
What was the other one with the guy that had the crow? Was it the crow? Lived on top. He's like in Manchester. He had a bird in a cage.
Oh, no, Kes.
Kes, yeah.
You know, Kestrel or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, I read some books, but
not
like Russians. Russians are far more cultured than we are. That's for sure.
They are definitely.
Yeah. Okay, go on. It's my turn.
It's your turn,
I'm running it.
Your turn.
Yeah. Driving standards. As I said, I'm a petrol guy, so I tend to notice car stuff. I would say the standard of driving is at times questionable. I have seen all sorts, especially when it comes to parking. It shouldn't be called parking, it should be called abandonment. And I think if the engine is off and it's somewhere near the side of the road, regardless of what angle the car is, that's deemed as parked. So you can see people that will park and take up free spaces. You can see people that will park in such a diagonal, it looks like they're driving up the path. And just, you know, people park on a zebra crossing. Yeah, I've seen it all. I've literally seen it all. And that, you know, for me can be challenging, but I've got used to it. I just understand that nobody cares. In the UK, people will be screaming and shouting at you. And that's the difference here. People don't worry about little things. So, you know, they just don't take any notice of it. Nobody cares. I was actually trying to reverse. I pulled past the parking space a couple of weeks ago. And as I pulled past it, I selected reverse, looked over my shoulder, and the guy behind me had driven into it. And it was a kind of space that you had to reverse into to get your car parked properly. And he had just driven in it at a diagonal. And I sort of looked out the window and said, "What are you doing?" And he just sort of looked and went, "Well, I parked." And that was it. But it wasn't parked. It was just abandoned. You know, he'd just driven nose in. The arse end of his car was sticking out in the road. And I didn't get a chance to reverse in there. And it's like, okay. But that's just normal life, you know. It's like first come, first served. Whoever gets in the hole first. And they don't really care how. You know, whether it's nose in, whether it's arse in, whether it's half hanging out, it doesn't matter. So it shouldn't be called parking. It should be called abandonment. And the other part of it is certain people really should have their keys taken away from them and their driving licenses. In fact, I'm not sure certain people have got driving licenses because, as I've said, some of the driving is questionable at best. You know, on the whole, pretty good, but sometimes, you know, you'll see people overtaking, coming towards you on the wrong side of the road, and you're thinking, yeah, all right, okay, get over. Jesus Christ, it's not getting over, and you'll have to get out of the way, because if you don't, you're going to have a head on, because they're just ploughing down the middle of the road, overtaking, and you're like, Yeah, okay. But, you know, you don't know what's happening in their day. Maybe they've got to get home for their tea or something. So you've got to take it how it is. But like I say, in the UK, that's a real big problem, and people, you know, road rage is a real thing. Whereas here, it's non-existent because people just don't worry about it. So that's something you need to get used to if you come here. Right,
I'd say to just to add to the road thing. So in the past, let's say it was easier to get a license than it is now. Easier, and then also with driving. So one of the things I was going to say about driving is the same, like the turning situation. I don't know if you've seen this, but when there's a crossroads, cars don't turn behind each other; they turn in front of each other, which basically makes you not be able to see the road. So if you're in the left lane, right, in Russia, no, you're in the right lane, but the left lane of the right lane is 2 lanes or whatever, yeah. So you're wanting to turn left. Well, the car that's opposite you is wanting to turn left as well. What they'll do is they'll turn in front of each other, so you can't see the road. They'll both block each other's. They'll block my view of the road they're coming from, and I think just go behind the back of me and turn.
Yeah.
Like it's obvious, it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
And quite often I'm like, to go behind me. What's wrong with you? Block the road. Why have you turned in front of me for? Like all you've done is completely made it like that. We're like that now. We can't. Neither of us can see. Just go past me and go around. Like it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that again, that's down to like, bad driving, just shocking. You know, I just don't get it. I think, what's wrong with you? All you've done is just cause chaos. Go behind me. It really annoys me. That does. I had a time when I think this is something that quite a lot of Russians do, and I actually made a poll about this on Instagram. Asked people what they thought. So if you're, someone wants to go to the shop and there's no parking spaces, what they'll do is they'll park behind you, leaving them on the dashboard. And I did a poll and said to Russians, what do you think? Because most of my Instagram followers are Russian. Said, what do you think about this? And most of them said, yeah, it's fine. Leaving them on the dashboard, you can block the person off. So you literally go in the car park space, they just like block your car. Yeah. And it happened to me at night. I came out and I was like, there's a car here. And like I waited for like 15 minutes, and the guy came out and said, why don't you call me? I was like, where's the phone number? Well, it's there on the dashboard. I'm like, I can't see it, can I? You read it on a small piece of paper on your dashboard. It's nighttime. How can I see the number? He's like, should have looked then, shouldn't you? So basically, I was an idiot to him. I waited for him to pull out. I blocked the road off.
Yeah.
Blocked the road off like an idiot, like a road rage idiot. I just blocked the road off, and I said, right, I'm going shop. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm going shop. He's like, well, you can't do that. I was like, why not? It's like, well, because he's blocking the road. Like, you did it. It's like obviously being an idiot, Yeah. But for a second, I was angry. I was like, but like that's the thing, and it's fine. Russians think it's fine. So from the poll, like almost everyone voted, yeah, that's fine, no problem. You just got to pop in the shop or go to the bank machine. It's fine to block anyone.
Yeah, they just don't care about the trivial stuff. The stuff that people get stabbed over in the UK. Here, they don't. It doesn't even feature on their radar. And I noticed that outside in our development, people will park across people's driveways. And I had a guy that parked in our drive, and I came out and what the hell are you doing? You're parked in my drive, and he went, "Would you want me to move it?" I said, "Yeah." Oh, okay then, and he moved it, and it's like,
and it's
did I need to explain that?
Right? At the same time, it's nothing personal. Just like, well, I don't see the problem is you could have just called me and I'd have moved it. What's the problem? Because we're used to people not doing that. It still annoys me, even how many years been here. It still annoys me. I think. There's a
well, in the UK, you're very protective of your driveway and your property. And if somebody parks across your driveway, it doesn't matter whether you're going in or out. It's just you can't do that. You're blocking my drive. Well, are you going out? Well, no, but that's not the point. Whereas here, you're blocking my drive. Are you going out? No. Okay, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
So they just don't care about the trivial stuff, and that's what I like. That's what's good.
That's one of the good things about Russia is these things work for you and don't work for you. Because if you're late and you need to park your car, you can block someone off, but you know phone number in it, right? So it works both ways. But obviously, when it works against you, you're kind of angry. But when it works for you, it's great because you didn't have to go and find a car parking space, right? So
Aussie Comrade, how are you received by the people in your area generally as a foreigner? Are they surprised you are there? I mean, probably for Sam, not so much because he's been there a long time.
The thing is, you can't. you again, what does it mean? Because like people are nice to you, but probably people just don't really care. I mean, they're nice to you, they're not against you, not for you, just you are as you are, and there's no way you'll always be who you are, right? So you can't at the same time have another version of you that's not foreign and see what the reaction difference would be.
No,
I think,
no.
you know,
I think
so
for me, I'm a bit of a novelty because I'm in a village. I'm in a small village, so you know, the shops that we go in, they're used to me now. They see me, you know, and it's perfectly normal. But if I go into a new shop, I'm a bit of a novelty because I'm the only Englishman in the village. So yeah, a little bit of a novelty sometimes, but in a good way, you know.
I find that people know me before I know them. That's something I can say. Like
Okay.
I'll go to the gym and someone will be like, "Oh yeah, you know, how's it going?" I'll be like, "All right." I'm like, "Yeah, I saw you, you know, parked up the road the other day." I'm thinking, "You on about?" You know, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know, I live at the top." I'm like, "All right." You know, so someone will have told them that there's a foreigner lives down the road, right? Whereas I won't know who they are until they come up to me and introduce me. Whereas I guess other people know, right? So there is that. It's like I went to a bar the other day, and there was a guy there that I've seen and I recognise his face. But like as soon as I walked in the bar, he said, "Right, everyone, this is Sam. He's a blogger. Don't be scared of him. He might look like he's from the police, but he's not." And it was just like a little joke, and he's on the microphone on the club, right? And you know, obviously it's nice and not, you know, interesting at the same time. But like,
yeah,
you know,
I'm not as famous as you, so
know that.
yeah, I'm not as famous as you. I've only got a small channel in comparison to you.
Just
so
chat to everyone. That's what it is. I chat to everyone.
Yeah,
you know, that's why I just
somebody's asking about the water. Yes, you can drink it. Most people have a filtration system. We actually are still drinking well water, you know, straight out of the ground.
I drink bottled water at the moment because the house where I live in doesn't have the best. It's from the ground as well. We've got our own like well, is that what it's called? Obviously, pumped up into the, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Well, we had a filtration system, so we actually had to take the water to a laboratory where they test the water, and in our area, it's all good apart from the calcium level is high. And then you go back to this water company and they build a filtration system based on the quality of the water that you have. So we've got a multi-filter. So we've got a big canister, looks like a giant gas cylinder, and that's full of all different media that filters it as the first stage. And then we've got a charcoal filter and a very, very fine filter. And then that goes into the kitchen, and then under the sink, there's 5 more filters, which are like your RO, you know, your reverse osmosis filters. And then that goes to the fridge, and there's another filter. So the water I get out of the fridge is like spring water. It's lovely. But most people will filter their water if they're getting it out of the ground. But the mains water, I think, is, you know, you can drink.
And there's also natural spring water. I don't know if there's around you, but there's lots of, and it's in really strange places, right? In the city centre, there'll be like you'll see people queuing up with
bottles,
bottles, and it's like a natural spring that you just fill up your water with. And they test the water every now and again to make sure everything's okay there. It's just natural spring. And you'll often find them in the country. There'll be like some wooden steps going down.
You find them in remote churches.
Churches as well. Yeah, definitely.
There's one near me, and again, it's a remote church, and there's a natural spring, and you can actually swim in it as well because it not only comes up, and there's a cup chain there that you can actually drink it directly, but across the road it goes into a big tank, and you can swim in it. It is ice cold though.
I've been in a couple. They're freezing, aren't they? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely freezing. Wow, you sound so posh.
Really? Who does? Me or you?
No.
Surely it's got to be you with your southern posh accent.
I've never been called posh. Where am I? I'm trying to keep up with the chat.
I would have thought the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia would have amazing roads. Interesting.
Welcome to Russia, waiting on you for free water, next free gas underneath you. Yeah. Same here in Washington State. Right.
Something we're talking about.
I'll be honest. I'm out of dislikes because.
Oh wow! I mean, I could go on forever.
Right.
But
Well, you hit us with another one.
I actually can't go on forever. I was trying to think for ages about them because there's not. Obviously, I really like living here. If I disliked everything, I would live here, would I? Right. So, one thing that I dislike, and these things might be the same in other countries as well. And it's quite interesting. A lot of time people comment and say, "Oh, this is really good in this video, blah blah blah," or we're so clean there, right? So some places people dump rubbish, and it annoys me. Like today, I went for a swim in the reservoir in a little forest area next to the reservoir, and people just dump rubbish. So what happens is people come for barbecues, can't be bothered to take the rubbish home with them, and they'll just dump it, and it's horrible. It really frustrates me because a lot of people won't respect it, and I don't know if that's the case, wherever you live in the world, but it just annoys me.
I've seen it. I've seen it generally. Yeah, generally the place is very, very clean. But I have seen it. For example, that place I was just talking to you about, this remote church where they've got spring water. It's actually a forest as well, and you can go for a walk there. And we walked around the forest, and there were a couple of areas that were just full of rubbish.
You can see they've had a barbecue.
Rubbish. They've had a barbecue and just left it there.
Yeah, and they just left everything there. You think, why? What's wrong with you? You went to the forest. You had a nice barbecue with your friends, but you couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, take your
rubbish away with you. It's just frustrating, And now the next person that goes there is going to sit with that rubbish, and it's just like, that annoys me. That really annoys me. It annoys a lot of people. I put a post on Instagram today about it, and everyone said, I just don't get it. Why can't you be bothered? It's not difficult, is it? So that's what annoys me.
Do you get a lot of chemtrails in the skies in Russia? No. Well, certainly where I live, all the airports are closed because of the current situation. I'm only, like I say, 60 miles away from Crimea. So there's nothing in the skies apart from things. So no, I don't see any chemtrails. I see plenty of
people say on my video all the time, they say, why is the chemtrails? Oh, it's so bad. I live next to an airport, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's the chemtrails. There's no fields really near. It's an airport nearby. The actual area that I live in has the same name as the airport. So that's probably what it is. People are always saying, it's chemtrails there. Shocking. I'm like, I don't think it is. Yeah. Unless they're spraying the airport.
I don't have that issue. There aren't chemtrails. There's plenty of aviation, but it's got nothing to do with chemtrails.
A lot of people are, to be fair, it's never really been something that I've even really thought about being a problem. I think some people don't like it, but I don't know. I don't know enough about the agricultural industry to know if.
Yeah, there's a whole theory about the chemtrail thing, isn't there? People document it, and there are believers that it's stuff being pumped into the atmosphere. It's seeding for changing the weather. There's all sorts of reports about it. It's not something I have to worry about because, like I say, I don't. Although I live very near an airport, it's currently closed, so I haven't got any issues.
Yeah, so the trash collection. So there's a private. So the governments and the municipality or whatever it's called. Basically, they have a company that they pay to do the rubbish. I think it is. I don't know if it's actually the government or it's because they've got a budget. The amount of money they allocate to collecting rubbish, and whoever wins the contract is the rubbish collection.
I think we pay something like a equivalent of £1 a month. I think it is to have our rubbish taken. I'm just going to answer Joshua. I did already answer that, mate. I don't know if you missed it, but yes, I worked in the automotive industry in the UK, and I don't work in Russia. I'm retired. Sam, Joshua wanted to know, what we did for a living in the UK and in Russia.
I worked in loads of crazy, stupid things. I worked at Mackie D's for a while, and I did in the UK. It's my first job. I loved it. I learned so much from there. And it was a great time. I was young, having fun. Brilliant time in my life. Don't care, no cares in the world or whatever. Done a few call center stuff. Didn't really enjoy that. Came to Russia and tried a few different things. Had a dabble in real estate for a while because it's so cheap when I first came here. It's ridiculous. And prices would double in a year and stuff. So I did that for a while. I opened an English language school with a famous university from the UK. It sent me sent me teachers here to study Russian for their third year, a year abroad, gap year, and teach English to kids here. Then after that, I had an affiliate marketing business. And now I'm just YouTube, all in on YouTube. I love it because it doesn't pay loads of money, but I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
And I hope that, you never know. I think, to be fair, that my channel deserves more views. Every channel's going to say that, right? You know, every channel's going to say that. But if you look at the type of content that I create, guys, and you'll see that I think on other channels, they seem to do a lot better. I don't know if YouTube just hates me, but then every channel's going to say that, aren't they? So hopefully one day I'll be a multi-millionaire YouTuber, and then the internet.
Well, I remember when we first, I won't say met because we haven't actually met in person, but when we first chatted on the Telegram group, one of the things you said to me quite early on is there's no rhyme or reason to YouTube. You can make a video and then all of a sudden it just goes mental. There's no rhyme or reason.
Or you can make an amazing one. You think it's going to be brilliant, and no one watches it. My last 2 videos have been copyright claim gone to both of them, and YouTube says that only 17% of my audience are able to watch my video. So like the last 2, and they've been really good. Like this one, I filmed in clubs, right? So there's music on in the background. So I didn't expect the video to be monetized, but I hoped that it wouldn't get, copyright banned. So it is. So this last video I've just uploaded today. I don't know if you've seen it or not, guys. Uploaded at about 8 o'clock. Really cool video, going to clubs with a few women that I know, filming in the clubs. Really good video, but it's doing ridiculously poorly because people can't watch it. If you're in Russia, you can't watch it 100%. So
is there no way around that? Can you not VPN?
VPN, you can put your VPN on or whatever and watch it, but like it's not showing up in the feed to people, right? Because it's so in a lot of countries it just won't show up in their feed because it's not available in their country. So they don't even know about it, right? So unless I send them a link, right, then they're not even going to see the video. It's not going to show up, right? So
So have you put a link in your Telegram channel?
Yeah, the link in my Telegram channel. Go and sign up for that, and send me millions of pounds as well if you want. To you though. I'd like to wake up tomorrow and be a multi-millionaire, and I'm not just in Zimbabwe, but actually
Well, I've taken steps. Crypto.
Oh yeah. If you want to do anything with crypto, then Chris is the man.
Well, I don't know about that. But it's definitely our financial future, and I'm not going to bore people with it because most people are not interested. They just go, "Oh, it's a scam. Not interested." Fine, it's already being used in the banking system throughout the world. But I'm not. This isn't the time or the place to talk about crypto. Tatiana, Chris, what is your favourite beverage? Honestly, anything with ice in. I just love cold drinks. I'm not a tea drinker, really. I'll drink tea in the morning if my wife makes it, or coffee if she makes that. But I haven't got really a favourite beverage. I would say that I drink more champagne here than I ever have in my life because we live in a wine and champagne region, and a bottle of champagne here is £2, £2. So I drink more champagne than I ever have done. But am I drinking champagne every day? No. My wife would kill me if I did that. But yeah, possibly wine or champagne purely because of the region we live in. But aside from that, that is just orange juice and water. That's all it is. So that's what I drink mainly.
Thanks, Aussie comrade. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think so as well. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? That's kind of like how the YouTube gods have done it. House building, it's not at the moment. I'm able to get a loan. I found a place where I can get a loan from, but it's about paying it back, right? Because I don't earn that much money from YouTube, even though I'm creating content pretty much every day at the moment, and then editing it and uploading it. But I literally do a week's worth of videos and I get the same amount of views as someone else, or just make a 10-minute video walking down the street talking about something, and they'll get more views than I do for the 7 videos I create. And that's going out, finding something, going to an event, speaking to people, editing it, uploading it, translating all the text, all of that stuff, and I'll get hardly any views for it. So I can't control that. All I can control is the content. So my house building is on pause at the moment. Nigerian Prince going to send me an email. I hope so.
Liam wants to know if you carried more than 10 grand on a Russian flight. I haven't got 10 grand, so I definitely can't carry it on a Russian flight.
So what would happen? So you can take as much money into Russia as you want, but you've got to declare it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that means anything about declaring it, but like it depends if you want to walk into the. So basically, if you don't know Russia, I wouldn't bring a load of cash with you. Because you don't know what's going to happen. It's not that Russia's a bad place, but I wouldn't take a load of cash with me to any place in the world, really. I wouldn't really feel comfortable walking down the airport with a load of cash with you. Just wouldn't feel,
Yeah, you don't need to. So I didn't recommend that. Plenty of alternatives. Fireflux, what is you and Sam's favourite Russian food or meal? We covered that off earlier. Sam's a barbecue
I like
guy.
barbecue stuff. Yeah, more kind of southern Russian stuff, barbecue stuff, really.
Yeah, I'm pretty eclectic. I like all sorts.
I'll eat anything as long as it's not pork, really, or like kidneys and stuff like that. I'm not really a fan of that kind of insides.
No, I don't do offal.
Yeah,
I don't do offal.
So
Chris,
have
you tried kvass or Georgian red wine? Georgian red wine, no. Kvass, yes, you have to. Yeah. If you come to Russia, you have to. It's the law. Russian beer in England. So easy to get Russian beer in England, is it?
I think you get the Baltic export. I don't know what number it is. Maybe it's number 9, I think, or something like that.
Right.
You get. But you used to. I mean, to be fair, you might be able to get lots of stuff. I haven't bought anything there Russian for a while, unless you go to a Russian supermarket. I don't know if there's a Russian supermarket. There probably is in So in Nottingham, there's a couple of Eastern European places, shops. In Manchester, there's loads of them. In London, there's quite a few. It depends whether there's a big Russian or Eastern European community there.
Yeah, Liam, bring USD to Russia. I'm afraid doing multiple trips. There are other ways of moving money. You don't just have to walk through customs with it. Ellen, when did you last go to the UK? For me, it was a month ago. Sam, when were you last in the UK?
3.5 years ago. I haven't been there. 3.5. I went there before COVID was starting. That Christmas before COVID started, basically. Right. Yeah.
Liam's in the market to buy an apartment. Probably worth joining Sam's Telegram group and asking Sam some questions. Obviously, that's something that he can. That's something that he can probably give you some advice on.
Sure.
In Canada, Derek Moriarty. Yes, in case anybody didn't pick up on that, he is Sherlock Holmes' arch enemy. Gold and silver. No, I wouldn't, because walking through customs with a bar of gold, I wouldn't worry about it at the Russian end, but to get to Russia, you've got to go via somewhere else. And that would worry me. So I wouldn't be walking through with bars of gold and silver. I think you're chancing it. Crypto. You can move any amount with crypto. I
don't know if you've seen the film The Diamond Arm. Famous Russian film. Go and watch it. You'll find it on YouTube in English or with subtitles at least. The Diamond Arm, and that could be a way of smuggling money.
Yeah.
It's a Russian film. Soviet film.
Liam, no, not yet. Not yet, but it's coming. Crypto going directly into the banks, it's coming.
Yeah, so Liam says Belarus is cheaper to culture same as Russia. Depends what you want. I always wanted to come to Russia because it was Russia. And I came here because I had Russian friends, but I was just always interested in Russia from when I was younger. So if you want somewhere maybe that's cheaper and that's the goal, then maybe that's the thing. But I don't know. I like Russia, right? So Belarus might be a cheaper version of Russia. It's very clean in Belarus. Irish Partisan, I don't know if you follow him on YouTube, but he lives in Belarus. He can show you some what life's like there. He's been there a while now, probably about 10 years, I'd say. I don't know, like Belarus. Yeah, I'd probably like to go and visit there, but I guess it depends what. Yeah,
I don't need to go and visit anywhere. I've got everything around me here, so it'll take me the rest of my life to explore where I live. So I don't need to go anywhere else now. Kieran, why are you not married, Sam?
Just didn't work out for me. I haven't found. It's hard as you get older as well, mate. You know, there's been a few times when I was younger when I thought, yeah, you know, I should get married here, or you know, hope. And there's been a couple of times when I've wanted to get married, hasn't worked out for me. And then there's been other times when the person's really been in love with me and wanted to get married, but I turned down. So it's been a couple of times, but yeah. And the longer you leave it, the harder it is because you find faults with people. Like as we get older, we've all got our habits, right? You know, and you find faults. So if you got the chance to marry early, then I'd do that. I know a lot of foreigners get married in Russia. Do it definitely. You know, I wish I got married at 18. You know, 18, you're crazy in love, aren't you? You know, so yeah, the longer it goes on, the harder it is. But you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
The choice of women becomes less as well, and you'll find that the ones that have never been married, or the ones that have never been married and haven't got any kids, you think, oh, I found jackpot here. There's a reason. So you'll end up marrying someone that's already been married before and possibly has a kid or something, and that's fine because you expect it at that age. At my age, only 45.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's lots of things, but yeah, so just hasn't worked out for me. You know, I was holding out for something. I always had that thing where it's like, yeah, she's amazing, but maybe this is, am I sure? You know, and yeah, probably just indecisive. Probably that's all it is.
Where are a couple of questions, but they've now gone down.
Your videos are awesome.
I went via Turkey. And Derek says, my wife returned from London 18 hours via Turkey. Yeah, we had a similar thing, but we just didn't plan the flights properly. And we ended up spending about 11 or 12 hours in Istanbul airport, which was horrible. But if you plan it, get the flights nearer together, also possibly get a room in the airport, then yeah, you can land in Istanbul after, I think it's 3 hours and 50 minutes flight from the UK. Land in Istanbul, go straight to a room, have a shower, have some food. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. But the last time we got the flights much closer together, so I think they were 2 hours apart. So we landed in Istanbul, waited for 2 hours, and then got a flight to Sochi. The worst bit for us was getting from Sochi, because we landed there at about 4 in the morning, and the train wasn't till I think 11 in the morning. So we opted to get a taxi. And we got a taxi, and it got half an hour outside of Sochi and broke down. Then we had to get another taxi, and we ended up about 9 hours in a taxi from Sochi.
That's interesting. Someone's at Koos van Vern has written you could get the bus from Georgia. I don't know if you can fly to Georgia over Russian airspace though, or the flight goes all the way around. Like, interesting, because Georgia's obviously nearby.
Yeah.
I don't know how direct the flight is. It might be a ridiculous flight from the UK because obviously Georgia you have to fly.
Yeah.
You could fly over Southern Europe and then over Turkey. It's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Or almost, isn't it? Yeah.
But no, for us, I mean, the first time we came here, we went to Moscow, and then it was 2 days on a train from Moscow to Anapa, because we got the slow train, not the fast train. So, yeah. But now Sochi is a much better alternative. So, yeah, if we travel, we'll go from Sochi.
Why not fly to Estonia? I might fly to make an adventure of it. Fly to Latvia from the UK, and then obviously it's different for me, right?
Yeah, Latvia is not that friendly now.
Home. So for me, you know, I'd go to fly to Latvia and then probably drive.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Latvia because it's not that friendly to Russia anymore.
Well, obviously it's okay if you've got an English passport, you can go to Latvia from there. And then you can go to Russia, right? So yeah, I don't know. Again, obviously the easier route is doing the route that everyone does, which is Turkey. right? You know,
Yeah.
it's less stressful. It's still,
Tatiana, Chris, where did you meet your wife? I met her in the UK. I've covered this before, but I'm happy to say it again. We met in the UK. My wife had been living in the UK for a number of years, and when we met, Russia wasn't a consideration. We were actually looking to buy a house together in the UK, and then we came to Russia on holiday, and I fell in love with Russia. It wasn't the stereotypical guy meets Russian wife takes him to Russia. It was me. It was my drive. It was me saying, you know, this is really where I want to live. It's amazing. And it was me pushing my wife to buy a house here, not the other way around. So for me, it was complete opposite of the stereotype, you know, guy meets Russian wife kind of thing. Completely opposite for me. Sam, in your settlement, is there a water main, or will you need a well?
yeah. So everybody in our settlement. So in most settlements, if it's a bit out of town, you have wells. Yeah. So it's a well. Well, as I say, a well. It's not really a well. It's a. How do you say a well that's an automated well that, you know, pumps water into your house? Basically, I don't know how you say it in English.
It's a borehole into the water table, and then it's got an electronic pump at the end of it, same as us.
And same with septic, and then and gas is there. You just have to connect it, but it's not. Yeah.
On same 22. How much does food cost for 1 month for you guys? Depends what you want to eat. Depends how you want to eat. I mean, we can spend 5,000 rubles a week, or we can spend 2,500 rubles a week, or we can spend 15,000 rubles a week. It really depends what we're eating. It depends if we go out for dinner. It really varies. So yeah, Sam, you know, you're on your own, so
I'm lazy. Yeah, so I'll often just order like
chicken
barbecue.
ping.
I'll order barbecue all the time.
Right.
I only really cook if I've got mates coming over and stuff. Yeah, I can't really be bothered to cook myself. In winter, I'll cook quite a few like stews and stuff like that. But like usually, if I cook, I'm barbecuing as well. So it's really difficult to say, because when you're ordering food, it's expensive, isn't it? It's not expensive compared to UK or anything, but like it's more expensive than cooking yourself.
More than
right?
going cooking. Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we tend to if we're cooking, I do most of the cooking in the house. If I'm cooking, I tend to overcook. So, like tonight, I've cooked a chili, which will last probably 3 days. We've had it for dinner tonight. We'll have it for lunch tomorrow. We'll have it, you know, tomorrow night with jacket potatoes or with pasta or something. So it will last a few days. So yeah, it depends what you want to spend, really.
I saw a question from me. I was going to say, first of all, I'm quite lucky at the moment. So at the moment, I've got my best friend. My best friend lives in Russia, and his dad's from Yemen. His mum's Russian. His dad came over and met his mum in the 70s. They moved back to Yemen in the 70s, and then he was born here, I think, before they left. But they came to study and met, and then ended up living there in Yemen. But their house was hit by something, let's just say, fell from the sky, with USA written on the side of it, and so it's in pieces at the moment. So they've come over to stay with me for 2 months. So his mum and his brother come and stay with me, and it's really cool because they're from Yemen, so obviously and my mate's coming over, so he's making barbecue all the time. So I'm eating loads of barbecue at the moment, lots of interesting foods. So it's going to be a good summer food-wise.
Always a bonus when you haven't got to cook it. Right. Well, I don't know about you. I mean, I haven't got any more dislikes because I really had to struggle to come up with those 3. Because, you know, I'm still in the honeymoon phase, so you know my notebook is full of stuff that I do like, not necessarily stuff that I don't.
I'd say that it was not a dislike, but I'm very jealous of the plastic Russian, because you know he gets to live in a house with amazing house with really nice temperatures. Swims in his pool every day, and then basically whenever we have like chats, I like call him and say, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "Chilling in the pool."
I did a live stream from
Chilling
the
in the
pool
pool.
yesterday.
Did you from the pool? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to see if it
wow.
would work. So I actually got in the
That's
pool,
great.
and it did work. But it was just really to say that we're doing a live stream tonight. So that was the point of the live. But yeah, it did
So
actually
obviously
work.
that's something that I hate. I'm jealous. I have his picture on my dartboard, basically. So what I do is I throw darts at it and hope that it will puncture his pool.
Cheers, mate.
But
Don't punch the pool,
also, I
it's
just wanted to
concrete.
say, obviously, if you haven't, if you're watching this and I don't know if you're on my channel, right, and you clicked on this and watching, sign up. Make sure you sign up for the Plastic Russian. Make sure you sign up for this channel, because this is going to give you an insight as to someone living in a completely different region. But I don't think there's any other YouTubers down there, or maybe if there is, then they don't have Chris's experience of going there. No, experiences, maybe I should say, experiences of him going to Russia and buying a house, right, that was built for them, and then living down in south of Russia. Obviously, it's, and if I was to go to Russia again, if I was to come to Russia for the first time, I'd be moving to that region because the weather's nice, right? So you've got mildish winters, it's a ski resort a couple of hours away, beaches, so you've got everything there, and obviously, summers are great. So summer is not like, oh, if it's warm we'll make a barbecue. No, it's going to be warm. It's going to be hot for like 4 months, like hot, like 35 degrees, could be 40. So
minimum of 4 months. I mean, I was in the pool in April, or it might have been March or April. I think my stepdaughter was in the pool in March. I think I was April. But last year I was still in the pool in November. So our climate is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Did I fall out with another YouTuber? Not fall out. Even when people fall out, I never publicly try and fall out ever. Even with people that we don't get along, we publicly try and support each other all the time. Some people are, I guess, maybe a bit more sensitive. That's all. But from my point of view, I always try and publicly support all YouTubers.
I've got to say, you've been super helpful to me. I've got to say,
even throughout this video, you haven't seen me mention, Belarus, Irish partisan, or stuff like that. If I can point people in the direction of someone, like, we're a community and we all have the same goal, really, which is to provide information to people and show what it's like to live in Russia, because other people are going to be interested, and we want to show the truth, not like it's presented in mainstream media. So we all have the same goal, and unfortunately, some people take offense to things that you maybe didn't try and purposely offend somebody, but everyone has their own kind of levels or their own ideas, unfortunately that's just life. The same with anything, really.
And the trouble with text sometimes is it can be misconstrued as well, and I mean, I had no idea what went on with that, but all I can say is, my own experience with Sam, he has been so helpful to me, and this would have been extremely difficult if I didn't have Sam to help me out and certainly point me in the right direction, and help me along with subscribers as well. So Sam has been amazing for me, as has Russell. Now I've got to get his name right. Russell from Traveling with Russell.
Traveling with Russell. I always murder people's channels, those names as well.
Oh, I'm terrible.
Always murder them.
And again, he's another guy. He, absolutely so helpful with my channel, setting it up and starting it off.
I've heard a little rumor that you're going to be doing a live stream with a certain American as well. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I've heard that it could be happening. So we'll guess. I'm not going to say any more than that.
Okay.
Because it might be, it could be in the works, but I don't know. So obviously, there's lots of Americans out there. It could be anyone, but let's just say that could be the case.
Oh, maybe you're ahead of the game with me then. I'm unaware. Interesting. I'll wait for that call. Liam, I saw some. Oh yeah, LN. I know I hates that you left off. Yeah, giant mosquitoes. Yeah, I did get one tonight. Actually, it was sat on the seat waiting for me, so I zapped it. So that was good. Digital ruble looks interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of talk. I haven't seen anything. You speak to the banks, nobody knows about it, but that's normal. You speak to any bank in the UK and ask them about crypto, and they don't know anything, because at that level they don't. You know, it's much further up the food chain that they're talking about it. And if you're talking about the UK, Santander, HSBC, they all use crypto. But you know, if you walk into the Santander or HSBC and ask about it, they won't know anything about it. But they're all using it. Those banks are using it. Fact. And HSBC is the clearing bank for the UK, so that's what they're using. Will it solve the non-Russian currency issues, though? So one of the things that has been said recently about India is the trade problem with India regarding currency because of the rupee. It's not a viable currency outside of India, so you can't do anything with it. Well, crypto solves that problem. There is an asset that I'm very keen on, which is XRP, and that's a bridging asset. So you can input a currency in one end, it turns it into XRP for the transmission, and then it comes out the other end in the currency of your choice. So, you know, people are saying, "Oh, they've got to solve that problem." That problem's already solved. It's just a question of them switching it on. So, yeah, for Russia to trade with India, it's already there. That problem has already been solved. It's very, very simple. So, you know, don't listen to everything you hear in the mainstream media, and you know, about crypto being a evil thing and for drug dealers and everything. That's all absolute nonsense, and it's just to scare everybody away from it. It's not the truth.
So Bonsang22's written to me, basically with regards to finding your mother. Depends where she is. You don't have to pay me if you don't have to pay me for it. If it's possible for me to do it, then I'll do it for free. I don't need anything from you for it. But it just depends on where she is. You know, obviously if she's like 5,000 miles away, then it's going to be a difficult thing. So it depends.
Yeah, you probably need to get some detail about that. You might
send me an email. Send me an email, mate. If you go to my channel page, there's a place for my social networks and the email address. You can email me or contact me on my social networks and just tell me a bit more information. But you don't have to. If it's easy for something that I can do realistically,
in Vladimir, apparently,
make an interesting video, maybe. Yeah. So
yeah. But you might find that the mum doesn't want to be found, so you probably need to.
Yeah, I mean, it might be that we don't know the thing. She might, if it's actually a lost person or if it's just, I mean, she's give me some more information. Oh, she's in Vladimir. Yeah, so I can let me know if more information then, mate. Just send me go to my social networks, VK or Facebook, better VK. You can also send me an email. It's on my channel page and send me some information and I'll see what I can do.
Aussie Comrade has said Russell is a legend. He's also helped me with my channel. He's a super nice guy. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, big shout out to Russell.
Just gone back. Russell, from where's he been? He's been in
Bali or something.
Bali, lucky guy. 3 weeks in Bali.
Well, I think he's been visiting all of his properties, hasn't he? He's been sort of popping around and making sure.
Russell's the king of YouTube, basically.
Oh, he's absolutely.
Yeah, so he's like the number. I think he's the. I mean, obviously other people have maybe got more subscribers, like, I don't know, but Russell pumps out videos every other day. And he's one of those.
He's got multiple properties around the world, and you know, Rolls Royces on the drive.
Rolls Royces, I've seen there's a few words that I now speak because of Russell. It's like, if you go to there and do this, like he's very you explain now and again. I think, oh man, this is Russell. If you would like to do this, then definitely go and do it. And it's very Russell's very clear speaking, isn't he?
Yes,
very clear.
Yeah, I think that's why his channel's popular.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
you know, Russians can understand him. Furby Slayer, just avoid meme coins. Hell yes, utility coins only. Meme coins are, you're going to get seriously burned. You might get lucky, but no, avoid. Best time to buy cryptos right now? Yep, I'd agree with that. Buy when everybody is fearful. When everybody tells you to stay out of crypto, that's the time you buy it. Lots of fees though. Yeah, it really depends. It depends what you're doing, how you're doing it. If you're using crypto to move money, for example, yes, there are fees, but if you buy crypto because it's volatile, if you buy it when it's down, you pay the fees, but it's at a low price. You wait for the price to appreciate, and then sell it. It covers the cost of the fees, so you end up with 3 transactions. So it's just about timing it. No fees to bank transfer to Belarus. Okay. Yes, he did just come back from Bali. Yes, Russell's super active.
Oh no.
Every coin is a meme. Glad you're still on. Been to a funeral, unfortunately. Been following you for a while. Great job. I'm assuming that's Sam you're directing
I
that
hope
at.
no, I'm thinking it must be you.
Oh, okay. But don't we have to find a person to sell the crypto to? No, because crypto is it's an asset. There are multiple companies that will buy the crypto. You have peer-to-peer trading as well. So you just find a payment provider. So use an exchange to buy it, and then you send it to a payment provider here in Russia, and they will just send the money straight to your bank. If we get USDT, then we need someone to buy it. No, for the reason I've just given. You just send it to a payment provider. Can sane-minded people in the UK come over to Russia? Hey to both of you.
No,
Yeah.
never.
No, we don't want. We don't want anybody coming to Russia. Stay away from Russia.
Anyone
Honestly,
can
it's a
come
terrible
here.
place.
It's fine.
No, we don't want any foreigners here.
Russian people look at the individual and not at the place where they're from. So it's very important. So yeah, so don't worry about coming here and just come, see what it's like, and yeah, you probably never go back.
Yeah. Wyatt's Wild Nature. Yes, I found his channel the other day. Actually, I did message him, but I haven't had a response. I also messaged you. I haven't had a response from you either. Interesting. Thank you, a billionaire. Yeah. Privacy stablecoins is the future. Yeah, no. Privacy stablecoins will not be the future. If you think that, you need to do a bit more research on crypto, because no government is going to allow that. Missed my question. Sorry, Lala. Have any of you been to Bali after Russell's videos? Now you want to go to the team? No, I haven't.
I haven't been there either.
Russell. I haven't been there. I've been told you can get your UK bank account closed with those large transfers.
Break it up into smaller ones then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Break it up into smaller ones. Liam is in the Telegram group. We're doing P2P crypto trades. Yeah, you know, the world's changing. It's the global financial system is changing. It's just a matter of time. It depends how patient you are and how desperate you are to move money. Been in it from the start, mate. Government do what billionaires want. Privacy coins will not happen. They will be shut down, purely because they can't tax them. If they can't find them, they can't tax them, and that's what it's all about. They want to be able to control crypto so they can earn off of it. All the banks run the country. All the banks run the world, not governments or billionaires. Banks. And if the banks can't earn off of something, they'll close it down. So, yeah. Good point. Things may fun change. Okay. Sam, I mean, it's been lovely to talk to you, and I think we could go on all night.
Yeah.
You know, we can pick a subject, and because we're both here, we can bang on about it for hours. But I think we've been on for
brilliant
2.5 hours, maybe.
Yeah, it's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I've frozen as well. I've frozen again. So there you go. That's probably the sign that we need to.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a perfect time. So outcome crypto, I think we'll do for another day. But I just want to say, look, it's been lovely to talk to Sam.
Been good to speak to you as well.
Find out his perspective. Some of the things were interesting. Like it was cool. It was cool. And we'll talk offline as well, because I'm definitely interested in some of the things you've said. So when we're not in the stream, we'll have a chat. But thanks to everybody that's tuned in. please like, subscribe, share the videos. For me, that's the most important thing, is to share, because I just want to get the word out. For me, it's not about money. It's not my living. I don't earn my living from YouTube, but you know, this is Sam's livelihood. So if you're not subscribed to Sam,
if you've got a spare
please,
£1 million lying around, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. You can send it to me. I'll look after it for you.
Yeah. Charm Superior, how can I reach out to you? Join our Telegram groups. That's the easiest way. We've both got Telegram groups. Mine is the Plastic Russian. Sam is Sam's Russian Adventures, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
join the Telegram groups and just put a comment in, and we'll message you from there. No problem. But yeah, thanks everybody. Let's wrap it up for tonight. And it's been a great stream. I've really enjoyed it. Sam, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for coming on my stream. It's a shame that you're not visible, but I can hear you. So yeah, thank you very much. And as I always say, we'll see you in the next one.
Okay, see you.